Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back into the new video. Today's new video, I drink beer. We talk about the NFL coaching carousel. Who's staying, who's going, who is signed with a new team, who might be able to go to a team to make that team a contender. Are they trying to lure Aaron Rodgers to Denver with all the new pieces? Nathaniel Hackett, I see you. Eberflus, I see you. Dan Quinn, I see you. Make sure you hop in the room and join your boy. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ORION_NWSF on the YouTube Super Chat right here. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. So I wanted to hop on sometime between 5:30, Pacific time and 7 Pacific time. We obviously heard, the Sean Payton, not only rumors, but it ended up being he stepped away. So we were thinking, okay, is he going to the Dallas Cowboys? Is he going to go to TV? He's been there for quite some time. So we have a lot to discuss, not only with Sean Payton, but Eberflus obviously getting the head coaching nod there, going from, the Colts DC to being the Bears head coach. So obviously we're going to talk about that and him being a defensive coordinator to be able to see what you're going to be able to bring there, as well as Nathaniel Hackett going to the Denver Broncos. And I'll kind of give you my pros and cons for every situation. I'm very interested to see how these rest of these coaching jobs kind of play out. But I'm going to drink some beer. We're going to hang out. So make sure you're very active in the chat. Again, the grind to 25K subs is here now. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ORION_NWSF on the YouTube Super Chat right here. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, NW Sports Fanatic. So I am going to be doing my NFL, AFC, NFC championship game preview tomorrow. Okay, we're going to be doing that. I'm going to give you my picks tomorrow. I was going to do it tonight, but, I'm going to do some more research, some more reading, look at the depth chart, take a look at the injury status and go over that as well. But I'm going to hop on here probably for a couple hours. I'm watching the Chiefs and the Bills on NFL Network. So if you end up wanting to watch that as well, hop on with me. Also just to kind of, get it out there too. The mental health thing, it's very tough right now for me. Like I said, the depression and the anxiety, if you have something like that yourself that you're going through with COVID or just in general, you're not alone. I'll be honest, I wanted to record the last couple days, but mentally, I wasn't really feeling that great. But, sometimes you got to push, get yourself out of bed. You got to be able to take a shower, get out there and breathe the fresh air. Listen to music, do what you got to do to get out there. And I know with my therapy, it's hanging out with you guys and talking with you guys. So if we can end up talking about football, like I said, I can't wait for the NFC, AFC championship game. I'll be doing my picks tomorrow, even though I was going to do that a couple days ago. But I appreciate you guys very, very much. I love you and I appreciate you. Hopefully we get a lot of people with the notification, but we can start it off and we can talk about Sean Payton. We can start there, but let me acknowledge everybody in the room. Message from a Golden Eagle in the building. He said, what up, Ryan? And the NWSF. Let's fucking go. Let's go, baby. All right. Air Whitey, as a Packers fan, these reports coming out of Green Bay have me feeling good. Sarah Small's in the building. Sup, everyone. How are you feeling? I hope that you're feeling better. AFC Championship game is the Super Bowl. It could be. Like I said, I think that both matchups are going to be good. If the Chiefs end up going against the Rams, or the Niners, what kind of game are we going to get? Obviously, we've seen the Rams kind of get it into high gear as of late. Kansas City is probably got to be the favorite out of all the 4 teams that are left, but it wouldn't really surprise me any matchup that we get, especially this year. This is the hardest year to predict games that I can remember in the last maybe 20 years. Okay. Anytime you think that you know something, the complete opposite happens. You want to bet $100 on a team winning, boom, $100 gone. You always think you have the upper hand, and then the NFL, it slaps you right in the mouth, gives you an uppercut right in the chin, and then everything that you thought you knew that was going to happen, the complete opposite happens. But that's what makes it exciting for us in the NFL and NFL fans, right? Because it's the unexpected. You don't want to predict every single matchup, and you're like, I already know what's going to happen. Sometimes you want that unpredictability, but this year, it's even crazier than I ever could expect. So we're going to be going over that as well. So David Goldstein helped me a few years ago getting a life coach. Yeah, I might have to do that. Like I said, you guys are my life coaches for now. But like I said, it's one of those things. You know, you can talk to, you know, family members, you know, friends, but sometimes it's just not enough. And things have been tough for me, but like I said, I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep going after it. And like I said, you know, hanging out with you guys is a big part of my therapy. So I love you and I appreciate you. And we can talk about NFL coaches, any NFL Q&A questions that you guys have. And then also I'll be doing my picks as well. Brute Saint in the building. What a deal. My defensive coordinator, Eberflus, is the new coach of the Bears. We are going to go after that and talk about that here in just 1 second. I'm feeling great. Actually, been working all week, going to WWE Royal Rumble Saturday night. Exciting stuff, right? So we might be getting Dennis Allen as your head coach. He's a favorite with Aaron Glenn, the Lions DC. And then there was rumors that Dennis Allen might be leaving as well. So I was thinking, oh man, I hope you guys don't lose Dennis Allen and Sean Payton. And when we talked about it, people laughed at me and said, oh, that's impossible. They're never going to leave. But sometimes the rumors end up being true. And then I'm hearing things that, like, oh, he's still under contract. He's coming back. Sean Payton ain't coming back. All right. Sean Payton ain't coming back. He retired for now. I could see him going to TV, you know, if he wants to, you know, and going to CBS or Fox, ESPN, NFL Network, wherever he wants to go. And then after that, I imagine Jerry Jones hit him up. I imagine, you know, he reached out to him because that's the coach that Jerry Jones wants. You already got Dan Quinn, and it sounds like Dan Quinn is staying. McCarthy, it looks like he might be staying. But if Sean Payton was available, I think that Jerry Jones would fire Mike McCarthy in a heartbeat and bring Sean Payton back home because he definitely has the Dallas Cowboy ties. He used to be there, you know, in that coaching circle and that coaching tree. I think that's who they really want. And if you had Sean Payton as the head coach of the Cowboys, maybe you can actually win a fucking playoff game. And I know that that's the ultimate goal for Jerry Jones, but we'll have to wait and see if he's got to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years. But I don't think Sean Payton is done coaching, and I'm interested to see where the Saints fall. But to go from Drew Brees and Sean Payton and everything that they had, now you're starting to see kind of a rebuilding process, that money that they gave, you know, Taysom Hill, and then he dips now. So obviously being under the cap, maybe thinking that, hey, I can't really improve this team because we're so far back. And then you see teams like Denver that's got a shitload of money, and then they hired a brand new coach, obviously with Nathaniel Hackett, trying to lure over, all right, Aaron Rodgers, as well as Devontae Adams. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but we're going to be going over all of these things. Ro Garcia in the building. What it do? How are you, man? What it do? Elliot Evans in the building. What it do? Appreciate you guys very, very much. Okay. Poor Saints, message from a Golden Eagle. Well, you know, I don't think it's completely over for them, but to act like, you know, everything is okay and everything is, you know, easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, if you're a Saints fan like Brute Saint, I mean, this isn't really ideal. I mean, you lose Drew Brees. All right. You're way over the cap. You know, you lost Sean Payton now. I mean, what's next? Michael Thomas? I mean, what's going to happen next? I still think that the offensive line is fantastic. AK-41 is still my favorite running back in the league. Okay. All right. Defense is phenomenal. But you're going to have to try to find a way to be able to get more money and obviously have to make more room with draft picks somehow, some way. And the only thing I can think of is maybe dealing away Michael Thomas to be able to get more for the team and to be able to see what kind of structure you get. So the leadership is very important, but they already have a lot of key great pieces still there. But you're going to probably see the Falcons and the Panthers slowly catch up. And obviously if Tom Brady leaves the Buccaneers and I no longer have him, it's going to be up for grabs in the NFC South, and that's pretty much big facts. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And like I said, let's go over the first step here. Let's talk about this guy right here, Sean Payton. And I don't necessarily think it's poor Saints, okay? Sean Payton is a guy, you know, he decided to step away from the team. I think that there's still opportunities to see what can happen. Brute Saints, as I only see as the biggest test for Loomis, Saints GM. If we can crawl out of the hole we might be in, I would call it a success. But to be able to think that, hey, nothing is wrong, you know, post Drew Brees era, you know, we're going to be doing all these great things. If Jameis Winston's the guy, I mean, you guys would have made the playoffs this year and probably could have upset a few teams, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to have to go over, you know, what options you guys have. Getting Dennis Allen to stay with the team now is probably very crucial. You know, at this point, Dennis Allen might be the guy that you're going to have to try to make sure that he doesn't leave, because it sounded like at one point or another that Dennis Allen might say, hey, you know what, maybe I should go somewhere else. All right. But, you know, if he goes somewhere else, then what do? Then you got to actually look for a head coach, and then you got to also look out for a defensive coordinator. So if you end up doing something like that, I mean, that's a lot to go over. All right. So first you have, you know, Sean Payton gone. All right. That's going to be tough. All right. Sean Payton gone. And then you're thinking to yourself, okay, Sean Payton, you're gone. What do we do next? And then you're thinking, okay, Dennis Allen, we got to make sure that we keep a guy like that. But with Dennis Allen, I mean, there is no guarantee that he ends up staying. I mean, we think that he's going to end up staying, but I mean, is he going to stay? I mean, is he going to be a guy that, ends up staying and keeping everything under control for the roster? I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm not really too sure where we're going to go with Dennis Allen and how things are going to play out. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Saints do moving forward with the draft picks. I'm very conflicted. I'm very confused. I don't really know what we're going to get, from that particular setup. But one thing I do know, with the Sean Payton situation, Dennis Allen, more than ever, this man right here, the defensive coordinator, he's been doing a fantastic job for the New Orleans Saints. You got to find a way to convince him to be the head coach, all right, or stay as a defensive coordinator and bring someone in. But the leadership is going to be very crucial moving forward. I mean, if you're going to be going from this guy right here, the legend, the man, the myth, Mr. Everything, Sean Payton, for all the success that the Saints fans have had, got to make sure Dennis Allen stays. Otherwise, if you lose this guy and you lose this guy, I mean, what's going to happen to the Saints moving forward? We're going to have to wait and see. But I'm excited for, the future for them. But we can't act like everything is just going to be okay. All right. It's going to be one of those things where it's probably going to take a little bit of time to be able to get things not necessarily back to where they're going to be, because, I mean, they don't have a Drew Brees anymore. So we know it's going to be something where it's going to take time to be able to, be respectable again on all sides of the football. I mean, they got a lot of pieces there, and they can still win the NFC South based off their great running ability and the great coaching and the defense. But I'm just interested to see what direction that they're going to go moving forward. Okay. So kind of crazy, to think about all these things that are happening as of late, with the NFC South and the rest of the teams in the NFL. All right, let's see here. Whitey Rodgers pretty much said if he's not a Packer, he probably won't be playing ball. And I guess he's on good terms with Goody and Kuta Koontz. I mean, we'll see. We will see. Brute say I only see the biggest test for Loomis. If we can crawl out of the hole, I would see that as well. Rose in the building. I'm doing great. Think the last year my turn was a draft, I'm pretty sure. Feel like never seen. Yeah, no, he's no longer a part of the channel, Ro. You haven't been here in quite some time. No longer part of the channel, my dude. Message from a Golden Eagle. So why the fuck do we have two NFC West teams and the NFC Championship? Because they obviously are well balanced. They got two great coaches. And remember, I told you at the beginning of the year, last year, the year before, my two favorite young coaches in the NFL were who? Sean Payton. No. I said who? Do you remember? Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. These guys are bright. They're very smart. They're very intelligent. They play football two different ways. So it's going to be interesting to see on who ends up coming out on top. The Niners have won the last 6 matchups. The Niners are 6-0 against the Rams in the last 6 matchups, which is very probably surprising to a lot of people. If you guys have been reading or watching NFL Network, you're thinking, how the hell is that possible? Kyle Shanahan is a better head coach as far as play calling and mismatch, obviously, opportunities, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He just is a better play caller. The Rams are more finesse, and the Niners are more power. They're going to be power football, and they're going to be more physical. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that the Rams can't win this game, especially being at home, as well as a Super Bowl being in LA as well. But, we're going to have to go over that tomorrow when I end up doing my picks with the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, as well as the Niners and the Rams. I could really see any scenario, even the most unlikely scenarios happening. So if the most unlikely scenario is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the San Francisco 49ers, and you're thinking that has a 1% chance of happening, you never know. You never know, especially this year. You never know what might actually happen. Elliot Evans, we might lose Jameis because we can't afford him. We will probably lose Lattimore, MT. Negative 70 mil is incredibly bad. Yes, it is. And then think about that. I mean, if you weren't that far back in the cap, Sean Payton might have stayed. I mean, that might have been one of those things. It's like the draft picks aren't there. MT, obviously, the relationship with him and the coaches isn't really 100%. That he used to be one of the best NFL wide receivers, but, the NFL is like, what have you done for me lately type of league, right? So do we even think Michael Thomas is a top 3 wide receiver anymore, or a top 5 or a top 10? I mean, when he's healthy, I know he's got game. A lot of people want to be haters on that particular fact about Michael Thomas, but at the very least, I think he's a top 10 wide receiver. Is he top 5? I don't know. Because, now you got guys like Justin Jefferson, all right? You got Deebo Samuel. You got a lot of these other guys out there that are starting to ball out and show, it's not just Devontae Adams and Tyreek the Freak Hill. You're starting to get these other guys that are balling out on an incredibly high level, not only in the playoffs, but in general. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, I'm thinking that a lot of people would rather have those guys than a Michael Thomas. We got to see if Michael Thomas can actually stay healthy, but negative 70 milli is not where you want to be. I agree. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where it all plays out and where the cards fall. The NFC West is the best division in the NFL. It's always been. It's been very good. It's been very good for them for quite some time, right? Let me keep scrolling down here and seeing everyone in the building. Elliot Evans, how you doing? He said, I was starting to feel better, but then your fever got worse. Oh, fuck COVID. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I hope things get a little bit better for you, my dude. Brute Saint. So all I know is our two favorites are both defensive minds, which means our offense will rely on Carmichael. He's been under special teams for a long time. I'm not sure if that will pan out well. No, you need leadership. You know what I mean? If you're going to be the Saints, and depending on whatever happens with Tom Brady and the Panthers and the Falcons, who cares? I mean, you need to be able to have someone that can use AK-41, rebuild the wide receiving core. The defense is phenomenal, but you can add depth. I think we can all agree to that. But you need a tight end. You need more wide receiver depth. All right. Offensive line help would always be a plus, adding more key pieces to that amazing O-line led by Ryan Ramczyk. But you got to have a great play caller and that leader, because we know you guys are physically tough. You guys play power football like the Niners. If there's anyone that plays that physical style, you guys are it. Not necessarily Tampa Bay. It's the Saints. You know what I mean? So I know that you guys can be successful in the future, but it's going to take time to see what they do, okay? Packers are 38 over the cap. We're going to be in absolute hell if Rodgers decides to retire, because Adams is already committed to, according to Rap Sheet, he's a trustworthy guy. But you never know, because I could definitely see Devontae Adams leaving and playing with the Raiders with Carr, who he went to college with at Fresno State. We're going to have to kind of wait and see what happens there. Ryan Strick in the building. What up? He said, Bengals, this is how it's going to go. You're going to drag your lifeless carcass of a team to Arrowhead. They did beat you guys. All right, but that was in Cincinnati towards the end of the year. You're going to get your ass kicked for 4 quarters, then you'll leave. We'll see. We'll see. You know what I mean? Got to eat some of that humble pie. Chiefs could definitely win the Super Bowl, depending on the scenario here. But you never know based off the coaching, the matchups. One bad game, and then the season is over. We've obviously seen that many, many times. But you got to think that the Chiefs, all right, they are the favorites. But you got to get out there and execute. But like I said, we've seen the Bengals beat the Chiefs towards the end of the year. Questionable play calling, as well as some refereeing that was very questionable in that game. Cincinnati Bengals won at home. Okay, Joe Burrow has been very hot. And then on top of that, we've seen the Niners beat the Rams twice this year, twice last year, twice the year before. So they're 6-0. Kyle Shanahan is not a slouch. For everyone that thinks that Kyle Shanahan is a shitty coach because he was on Atlanta, he literally led Matt Ryan to the Super Bowl. Give the fucking man some credit, okay? And then on top of that, went to the Niners and led them to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. Yeah, you lost to Tom Brady when you're on the Falcons. Yeah, you lost to Mahomes in the Super Bowl, but a lot of people lose to Tom and a lot of people lose to Patrick Mahomes. It was just what happens, right? But you got to give the man some credit that no one really thought out of all the teams the Niners would be there, and consistently over and over and over, he proves people wrong. I'll tell you what, if I could have one coach on my team for Tampa Bay moving forward, if BA left, and maybe Byron Leftwich ends up being a head coach, who knows where? Does he go to the Jags? Does he go to the Saints? Wherever he goes, I'm going to be very upset, because I really want him to stay there. Todd Bowles as well, Bruce Arians. But if I could choose one coach to come to my team, and like Andy Reid's not available, and I'm not going for any of the older OG guys, it's Kyle Shanahan. I really believe in this guy. I love him. He's a great play caller. And like I said, he plays power football. He's not a finesse kind of coach like Sean Payton. No. Not like who? Sean McVay. But we'll have to wait and see what kind of football we get moving forward. All right. Cyberpunk 53. Do you think Jerry Jones gave Dan Quinn a stack of cash to stay? Probably. And we'll be talking about that as well. All right. Like I said, we want to go over every situation. We first started off and we're talking about this guy right here. All right. We're talking about this guy right here, Sean Payton. All right. He decided to walk away. He's not coming back to the Saints, I feel, ever again. Then you got this guy, Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator. Will he take over? There was rumors that he might go too. He might be gone as well. So we're going to have to wait and see on how that kind of plays out. The Saints way over the cap. We don't really know what's going to happen. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Dan Quinn, as we shift gears, and I'll go over Nathaniel Hackett as well as Matt Eberflus and those head coaching jobs. All right, but I think originally they probably Jerry Jones gave this guy a call. I said, hey, what do you think about I fire Mike McCarthy and you're the guy. You know what I mean? It was probably kind of enticing, but he's probably like, mentally, I wanted to, spend some time with the family, maybe do some NFL TV, and I know he'll be very good at it. I think he'll be very good on NFL TV, NFL Network, Fox, CBS, ESPN, wherever he wants to go. This guy's waiting in the wings to take over, but maybe he'll be gone somewhere else. But you would think that if Sean Payton's gone, and then there's rumors that this guy could get a head coaching job or, being a defensive corner somewhere else, the DC job might be available somewhere more lucrative for him. But at this point, you got to think, maybe I could be the guy. But you also don't want to be the scapegoat. if you're going to be the guy that gets the job and you have 70 milli over the cap and then boom, you're fired. Not a very good look, but, as far as a future job for this guy right here. But as we're talking about Dan Quinn, I assume Jerry Jones hit up Sean Payton and said, hey, do you want to come? I'll fire McCarthy. And then, this guy's like, man, this guy could be a head coach anywhere in the NFL pretty much. I mean, he's already proven that the Dallas Cowboys were one of the worst defenses last year and one of the worst defensive statistically of all time. He turned them around in one season, but they failed. All right. And I don't necessarily think it was all the defense, but a lot of it had to do with it. Horrible play calling by McCarthy, horrible play calling by Kellen Moore, and horrible defensive discipline by Dan Quinn in the playoffs. Throughout the season, he was fantastic. But what happened in the playoffs? Everyone wants to talk about, the 18 seconds, the QB sneak. Everyone wants to talk about that particular moment where they ran that stupid fucking play. Why would they do that? But the discipline, all the penalties, the Cowboys are always undisciplined. So hopefully this guy can get them back on track. But I know the Dallas Cowboys at this point are happy that he's there. And if they can't get a guy like at Sean Payton, to come over in a year or two, you can fire McCarthy and this guy could be the head coach, but then you're going to have to get someone else. I mean, unless he's the head coach and the defensive coordinator, and then you can have someone else call plays. But I imagine Dallas Cowboy fans are very, happy that he's staying. I'll tell you what, McCarthy, all right, he's got to go. Kellen Moore, he's got to go too. This is the only guy that I think that's respectable of staying, but you blew it in the playoffs with not having your team with the discipline. You DeMarcus Lawrence and all the other pieces that you got. You got so many guys that are just kind of loose cannons out there, and you absolutely blew it in the playoffs. We're going to have to kind of wait and see where it goes. But hey, I know the Dallas Cowboy fans are probably a little happy, at that point that he ends up being there. Big Ben retiring, I saw that. Him walking away, we pretty much thought that was going to happen. So it's interesting to see where that ends up going for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where will they go? They're going to be looking for an opening. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be somewhere that a lot of people are thinking that people will go. And as we transition into the Denver Broncos, all right, let's talk about this guy right here. Let's talk about Nathaniel Hackett, okay? So you got Nathaniel Hackett where there was rumors all year, you know what I mean, that this guy could be the guy next in line to go somewhere big, okay? The Denver Broncos are like, okay, Aaron Rodgers, there's always rumors that he could be going there. Now you're bringing in a guy. Today they hired Nathaniel Hackett to be the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. So with this guy right here, he's a good offensive play caller. I think the coaches, the players, the organization, not only for Denver, for Green Bay, they love this guy. So it definitely was one of those things, okay, we're going to hire you, and we'll see if you can bring over Davante Adams or Aaron Rodgers or one of the two. And obviously having someone familiar, all right, they got a lot of money to be able to spend. I think they have like $50 million that they can end up spending for the Denver Broncos. You already got great running backs. You got great wide receivers. You got Noah Fant at tight end, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Defense is pretty good. So it's like you got a lot of pieces there. But if you get Aaron Rodgers, I mean, is he going to end up, kind of failing again? If you end up getting the AFC Championship game, or if you get to the divisional, I mean, can he turn it around on another team? It could be a challenge for him. And I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady are going to retire. I think they got too much left. The money, they don't need the money, okay? But I think that both guys will come back. And obviously, I don't see Aaron going to Green Bay. It just seems like the defense, the special teams, it's always something on that side of the ball. But let's not forget for 1 second that he played a shitty football game, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they should have won that football game at home. He didn't do enough. So you got to give the blame a little bit to Aaron as well. Normally it's the defense. It's normally the run defense. Normally it's the special teams or Mason Crosby. Having that block punt was absolutely horrible. But this guy right here, Nathaniel Hackett, might be able to get Denver to lure over Aaron Rodgers. And if you get Aaron Rodgers paired up there to Denver, they could definitely go to an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl on the AFC side in a couple years. It might not be the first year if Aaron goes over this offseason, but I definitely think that they could definitely compete with the Chargers and Justin Herbert, the Chiefs and Mahomes. It'll be very interesting to see if that ends up playing out. But congratulations to Nathaniel Hackett for getting the head coaching job in Denver, which I already kind of knew was going to happen. If you're going to hire one guy to lure an Aaron over or Davante Adams, who's it going to be? It's got to be something in that, in that program itself. And obviously, it's not going to be the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. It's not going to be Kuntz isn't going to let him go. All right. You knew that it might be the OC Nathaniel Hackett. So he is the new guy, obviously, on the Denver Broncos. So congratulations to him. Let me go into the comments and we'll talk about Eberflus. Sarah Small is familiar with him, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, ending up being the head coach of the Bears. Ryan Strick in the building, what it do? Cyberpunk 53 in the building, what it do? Message from a Golden Eagle in the building, what it do? How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Like I said, my mental health has not been good. Depression and anxiety been at all-time high, but I'm just starting to, trying to feel better. I'm trying to push forward. Like I said, we got some amazing AFC, NFC championship games. I'll be doing my show for the picks tomorrow, so I hope you guys will join me then. But in the meantime, we can talk about all the big moves, including Sean Payton, Dennis Allen. We're talking about Eberflus. We're talking about Nathaniel Hackett. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and having a great, great Thursday. I love you and I appreciate you. I'm watching the Chiefs and the Bills here as well. And like I said, I appreciate you guys and everything that you guys bring to the channel. All right, let me scroll up here because I think I missed a couple of the comments. And shout out to Big Ben, Ben Roethlisberger. With Big Ben Roethlisberger, it's one of those guys, he's had an amazing career. And we know that what he has done, with that 2003, 2004, draft class, with obviously Eli, we've seen what he was able to do with the Giants. All right. Not only that, right? Not only that, we obviously saw Eli do his thing, right? We saw everything that Eli was able to do with the Giants. Then we've seen what the Steelers had, obviously, with Big Ben. It's pretty amazing to think of all the things that have happened with those guys, and even Phillip Rivers. Let's not forget about Phillip. He didn't end up getting the Super Bowl ring. He never got there, which was kind of a shame, right? Because you thought, okay, at some point they might be good enough, to be able to build the roster, but it just wasn't meant to be. Whether it was on the Colts there at the end of the career, no, obviously on the Chargers. We remember, when they ended up going 14-2, right? And they had Marty, and then they fired him. That was really fucking stupid for Phillip Rivers and his chances. But congratulations to this guy right here, Ben Roethlisberger. Obviously towards the end of the career, the arm was starting to get a little bit noodly, like Drew Brees. He just wasn't really having the same zip power. The leadership has always been there, but you kind of knew against the Chiefs when you ended up watching them that was the farewell tour. It's a big shout out to Big Ben. You know what I mean? Putting them on the map. And obviously with that opening there, with that defense and Najee Harris and the wide receiving core, Aaron Rodgers, if you're looking for somewhere where you could probably make the playoffs immediately, just like Denver, this is another destination. Aaron Rodgers could go to Pittsburgh and possibly get them to the promised land. Same thing with Denver. I think, Aaron Rodgers has got to get out of his own head and with all the failures there. But if the defense can do their job and they got good coaching around Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh and Denver, obviously would be great destinations for them to go to. If the Saints weren't $70 million over the cap, I would say that would be another great destination for a guy like a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers. But I don't think a lot of quarterbacks or a lot of people are thinking, I want to go to the Saints when you're negative $70 million. And obviously with limited draft picks and, obviously a lot of question marks with the roster. But obviously we know the Saints got AK-41. All right. They got obviously a great defense and a great offensive line as well. But shout out to Big Ben and his illustrious career walking away. So now we have no longer Phillip Rivers, Eli, or Big Ben. One of the greatest quarterback draft classes of all time. 2 Super Bowls for Eli, 2 Super Bowls for Big Ben. And Phillip should have had at least one. Or at least gotten to the Super Bowl at least once. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a shame. It kind of reminds me of like the Michael Jordan thing. You know what I mean? Where he just took away so many championships. He beat the Lakers, then he beat the Blazers, and then obviously Charles Barkley when he went to the Suns. And then obviously we remember, him stepping away, Houston with the back-to-back, and then the Sonics. You're like, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, so many teams, and then Utah twice with Karl Malone and John Stockton. So sometimes when you have these legends and these greats, with the Bradys and the Peyton Mannings or the Jordans in basketball, sometimes guys get left out, and it's really unfortunate because you want to see the championships kind of spread out, to all these other great players that we all love and root for and cheer for, right? But that's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes out there in the NFL. Appreciate you guys very, very much. All right, let me see here. Message from a Golden Eagle. NFC West is good, but not good enough to win a Super Bowl since 2013 Hawks. Since then, the NFC West is 0-3 in Super Bowls. He's trying to drop some knowledge on y'all. All right. He said Super Bowl 49, Super Bowl 53, Super Bowl 54. That might be true, right? But also, too, if you look at it, who has the AFC had on the flip side? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Kind of tough. Kind of tough. You know what I mean? It's really tough. Obviously, Tom Brady now was in the NFC, but we don't know if he's going to retire or step away, right? But it's really hard to be able to beat Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. It's just like the same thing with the Jordan thing. You're going against the 2 greatest and obviously with, Brady and his run in the last 20 years in New England, and then coming over to Tampa Bay immediately one year, winning the Super Bowl and getting knocked out this year, though, unfortunately for me, right? But I know a lot of America was happy to see me cry and see the Bucs lose and see Tom Brady lose. They were just ecstatic about that. All right. But it's hard to be able to beat up on Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. And I think Mahomes, even though he had that little rough patch, he's starting to get back to himself. Defense has been very good. Obviously the Bills, we already know, are an offensive powerhouse juggernaut. So they're going to put up points. Same thing with Kansas City. But overall, Kansas City's defense has been pretty good. They just need to be able to get a consistent running game. Jerick McKinnon has provided them that little spark, that little Jay Ajayi spark, towards the end of the year. Like him a lot. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and, Darryl and all the other guys that they got, Gore. I'm not sure if I really believe in a lot of the other guys that they have, but Jerick McKinnon seems like he is the guy, at least temporarily for now, until maybe they draft someone else. All right. Andy Reid. Speaking of Andy Reid, a guy that, could take a team to 4 straight AFC championship games, 4 straight NFC championship games. Think about how hard that is to do. We got to kind of give a shout out to Andy Reid and everything that he's been able to provide for that roster. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to go out there and get 4 straight NFC championship games with the Philadelphia Eagles, right, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And even though they didn't end up getting the Super Bowl, he ended up getting his eventually. And then obviously we know what he's been able to do with the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid is a fucking legend. I mean, there's a lot of other guys, Belichick and all these old vets that get a lot of credit, but how can you not root for a guy like this? And then on top of that, you got a top 3 OC in the game. All right, we already know Eric Bieniemy could have been a head coach anywhere else, but I hope that he stays because at some point, if he takes over Andy Reid at head coach, this guy could lead the team with Mahomes for many, many years to come. So what are you going to do? You're going to go to the Houston Texans and be their head coach and then get fired after a year or two? Fuck that. And then come back? Just stay there. I just hope that he stays there. And some guys are just better at calling plays on offense and defense rather than being a head coach. Just ask Josh McDaniels from the New England Patriots. And that is big facts. So as we're going over, I need to start drinking some beer because that was the whole point. Me being able to, I got some Modelo, got the pineapple beer. I had to go to 3 places to be able to find it. Went to Safeway, sold out. Went to another gas station, sold out. Went to the second gas station, my 3rd spot. I found it. And I got this one. So I got a couple pineapple ones, which is amazing. I got a couple lemon ones. I have not tried that yet. I got a couple of those in the fridge as well. And so we're going to drink some beer. We're going to talk football. And we're going over all the scenarios right now with Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. We discussed that. All right, we're going over Nathaniel Hackett, getting the head coach at Denver, trying to lure over, Devontae Adams, as well as Aaron Rodgers. I got the Chiefs and the Bills game, obviously, on TV. Touchdown, Pringle. Let's go. It's on NFL Network. They've been showing that, an instant classic. And then we're going to go over Eberflus here in just 1 minute as I go over some of the comments here as well. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Sarah Small, please get Dennis Allen as the coach of the Saints. They better hope that he doesn't leave. Big Ben, winner of the refs in the Super Bowls, especially that Super Bowl against Seattle. Seattle, I felt, should have won that one like 2005. Very questionable calls there at the end of the game, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Air Whitey. Rodgers wants us to use a tag on Adams, and I think that we will. Well, I would assume so. I mean, he might not be happy about that, but, I mean, you can't afford to lose both, right? You can't afford to lose both. You got to be able to – if Rodgers is gone, I don't think he's going to retire. But I think Denver now with Hackett, that's got to be a destination that he's looking at because they got good tight ends, good wide receivers. Offensive line has been getting better in the draft in the last 3 to 4 years. Defense is pretty good. Patrick Surtain is a stud. You don't have Von Miller there anymore. If you can get Bradley Chubb to stay healthy and keep building on that defense, Denver could be a team, just like when they got Peyton Manning to be able to get them over the top. But I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is the same as Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, is just one of them, he's got like a 3 head or a 4 head. He's got like an 8 head. That 4 head is so big with that brain. He's like an alien, with all the play calling, all the audibles out the line. He got a motherfucking 8 head. All right. Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, I don't really put them in the same category, but I do think Aaron with something, a new challenge, a new breath of fresh air, but also having someone he's familiar with Nathaniel Hackett. That could be a destination for him. Pittsburgh could be another destination for him as well. But having Hackett there, being the head coach and getting hired on for Denver was big. I like the hire for Denver, not just to, lure over Rodgers, but I think that he can prove himself there. And it can't be any worse than it was with Vic Fangio. And that's big facts. Air Whitey, Rasul Douglas, he said he'd come back for a bag of chips. Well, he better. Mbida in the building. What to do? Looks like we're going to do a full rebuild in NOLA. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Era is really coming to an end. Breeze, Eli, Peyton, Rivers, Big Ben all retired. Brady might be gone as well. Sir Luke in the building. Where do you think Sean Payton is going? I think he's taking a year off and going to the Cowgirls after a year. As going over the broadcast, I've been online now for about 34 minutes. Sir Luke, how are you? Gang. Nola in the building. So we were talking about, obviously, Sean Payton, taking a year off, but I think that he might do TV, after some time off, from now until football season. He's got about 5-6 months to kind of hang out with family and kind of regenerate and rejuvenate himself, right? But then NFL Network, ESPN, Fox, CBS, he could be a guy that gets, occasionally talk football, give his expertise and his point of view, get paid millions of dollars. And then I could definitely see him going to the Dallas Cowboys. I think that is something where if you can pair him up with a Dan Quinn and then obviously fire Mike McCarthy, you don't need Kellen Moore there. You have a guy like Sean Payton there on the Cowboys who used to coach there. He's in the coaching tree in Dallas. That might be the guy that could get him over the hump because obviously with the defensive issues that they have, Dan Quinn, even though, you had a great year and you went from a team that was horrible, not only in defense last year, but statistically one of the worst of all time. You got him to the playoffs, but you just fucking couldn't get the discipline. And that kind of alarms me a little bit. You got to be able to have the discipline with the players, but he did a lot for the Dallas Cowboys to get them back on the map. But they might need someone like this, all right? Someone like this, the leadership to get them over the top, Sir Luke. And I'm thinking that might be a very plausible case where, takes the year off and then they fire McCarthy, boom, insert Sean Payton. And it'll be a very exciting time in Dallas where you have a guy that's respected. And I think that Sean Payton could help them win a playoff game, go a lot farther than McCarthy. McCarthy is just living in the past, kind of like John Gruden. You thought you could bring in a guy that had the old school ways. Just because you won a Super Bowl back in the day doesn't mean that you're going to win another one in this, day and age. The power running game is kind of gone. It's now more of a passing league. But I definitely agree. I definitely could see Sir Luke. I could see that happening. Big facts. So NFC West is about to go 0-4 in Super Bowl since 2013. We'll see. We'll see. If he goes anywhere before 2025, whoever gets him has to compensate the Saints. Yep. Yeah, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Jerry Jones got a shitload of money. So I watched the entire Sean Payton press conference. It was really cool watching him tell all the stories of Nolans. He's a legend. And then you get guys like Eli Apple getting out there. I saw on Twitter there was some rappers that did a roast music video, and it was like Eli Apple, and his greatest highlights. And it was just him getting fucking roasted on every fucking play, just getting burnt on every play by every fucking wide receiver in the NFL. You know what I mean? Maybe thinking he's better than he is. It was pretty funny. I watched the video. You probably have caught it on Twitter as well. Him just getting roasted, but talking shit about the Giants, talking shit about Nolans and how dirty of a place it is and the food is garbage. I don't know really why that came out at the time that it did. Him on Cincinnati now. And Jamar Chase, has ties back into that area as well. I don't know what the purpose of that was, but him getting fucking roasted. I mean, he's not a legend, Eli Apple. Very interesting timing with the roasting of Nolans and the Giants and just, putting down, the community and the food and saying they're dirty. I don't know why that came about, but if he thought that he was going to talk shit about New York and especially the Nolans Saints and if someone wasn't going to fire back, obviously he got his medicine because a lot of people ended up watching that video and it was pretty crazy. All right. Aaron Whitey. We tried telling him, Orion, us Packer fans weren't crazy. Yep. I know, man. I know. It's just, you're going through all the, the good, the bad, and the ugly with all the teams. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Mahomes scored a TD on 13 seconds. Dak couldn't even throw the ball in 14. It's a difference. Dak is nowhere near being Patrick Mahomes. He never will be. Dak is a top 10 quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes, he's proven that he's top 3, arguably number 1 most of the time. Maybe fell off a little bit this year. But when it comes down to actually winning Super Bowls and, getting to the big game, I like Patrick Mahomes more than Russell Wilson. I like Patrick Mahomes more than Aaron Rodgers. I like Patrick Mahomes more than Deshaun Watson when he was number 4. But you also got to think about the guys that are on the up and up. All right, you got Josh Allen. I could definitely see him winning the Super Bowl or getting to the Super Bowl if they get a running back at some point. But you're going to have your kryptonite, the Chiefs, that you're going to have to get through. Until you get your Josh Jacobs, your Nick Chubb, or your top-tier guy, you're not going to get past the Chiefs. It's just not going to happen, okay? And then you got Justin Herbert looking good. Joe Burrow. This is not the last time that we've seen Joe Burrow. Joey Burr, all right? Joey Burr. Joey Franchise, all right? Joey B. They're going to be back. It might not be next year because sometimes teams fall off after a good year of success. But with the Bengals keep building that offensive line, it could be a time where we see the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Shit, we might see them in the Super Bowl this year. And that's big facts. Patrick Mahomes is retired, Andrew Luck, and Big Ben. Yes, sir. So I want some playmakers and edge rushers and a better QB. Great hire by the Bears. We're going to go over that here. So we had a top 10 defense the past 2 seasons. He's a good coach. I respect how he turned it out on the defense. We'll miss you. Yeah, he's been a top 10 guy. So Sarah Small obviously is a big Colts fan, and we'll go over that situation here. Okay? We'll go over that situation right here. So you got this guy right here. All right, Matt Eberflus. All right, so he goes to the Chicago Bears. Vic Fangio, all right, when he was on the Chicago Bears as a defensive coordinator, that was the best that they've been in quite some time. Then you brought over Vic Fangio, right, and it just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough, obviously, on that particular roster, okay? It wasn't good enough there. Stephen Gallatin, $2 on the donation. I'll apologize. I'll get to all the donations here, but I appreciate that. Sir Luke, $2. Appreciate you very much, and I'm going to get caught up with everyone, but thank you so much for the donation. I just saw that right there. But Matt Eberflus, a guy that's a great defensive coordinator, bringing back that defense. Matt Nagy is horrible. I think we can all agree that Matt Nagy is absolutely trash. But this Eberflus guy gives me Vic Fangio vibes when he was a defensive coordinator. The only thing that I worry about is the development of Justin Fields. How is that going to correlate with Justin Fields and his development moving forward? You got to get an OC or someone that can take his game to the next level. They got a lot of potential, but really, defense wins games. Defense wins championships. We'll see if this guy can take over the team, but they're going to need someone to help develop Justin Fields. So instead of getting an offensive coach, they went for the defense. The Bears have always been known for defense, but even with the almost same personnel, after Vic Fangio left, they were never the same. And obviously, you're going against the Vikings, Lions. You don't really need to care about them. Detroit, they're obviously in a slump, and we don't know when they're going to be good. Maybe never, right? But with the Vikings and the Packers, with obviously Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, it's like you just could never fucking get past that team or those two teams. But now with this guy, if he can keep building this fucking roster, we saw Darius Leonard, we saw all the pieces, Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner. We've seen the talent that this guy has been able to get the most out of. So maybe we can end up getting the Chicago Bears back to being a top 5 defense. And if they can get back to being a top 5 defense and Justin Fields can keep developing, I could see the Chicago Bears, making a wild card sooner than later. But I still have a lot of question marks about the quarterback and being able to develop, Allen Robinson, if he's going to be there or not. I assume that he'll be gone. So you're going to have to get more running backs, wide receivers, offensive line, tight ends. You're going to need better pieces that are surrounding Justin Fields. But I do like the hire. And I know it's probably tough to see, obviously, your guy, from the Colts, leaving defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. Now he's going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure if I like this hire more than the Nathaniel Hackett hire. Both guys could succeed. Both guys could fail. We have to kind of wait and see. But I do know that he is a great defensive mind, and he's been a good top 10 coach on defense for that team for a long time. So hopefully he can bring that energy and that swag to Chicago and get them, to the playoffs, because that's the ultimate goal. So I know we'll have to see what the Colts do, because they're going to need, to see what they can get in return afterwards. But a great hire, I believe, for at least now for the Chicago Bears and Matt Eberflus. All right. Let me go here and get back and check out some of the comments here. And like I said, I apologize. Sometimes with the comments, I try to take some time. I don't really like to ignore anyone. I like to make sure everyone feels, loved and, heard. And so sometimes I can't get to the live ones, but I'm getting closer. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $, ORIONNWSF on the YouTube super chat right here. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is for every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, NW Sports Fanatics. All right, I need to drink beer because that was the whole point as well. Shout out to Sir Luke. I'll put that on the screen here in a second when I get a little bit closer. Shout out to you guys. I love you, and I appreciate you. Man, this Modelo right here, this pineapple beer, Chilada, Pina Picante, I'm telling you, if you guys like beer, or if you don't even like beer that much, and you want to taste something unique and different, pineapple beer is amazing. This thing is so fucking good. They have a mango version, a lemon version, lime version, all these other different versions. This beer is my ultimate favorite. I mean, I love Corona and Modelo. I can drink the Budweisers and I can drink the other beers, but I'll tell you what, these tall boy cans of this Modelo Chilada, Pina Picante, all right, it's got supposedly chili flakes that I can't even taste in it, and it's a pineapple beer. It is absolutely fantastic. I recommend it, and once you try it, you'll absolutely love it. We damn boys, Alan Counts in the building. What it do? How are you? How are you feeling? Hopefully things are going better with your hand and everything there. Like I said, I worry about a lot of you guys. You know what I mean? Obviously myself with my mental health issues, with depression and anxiety, things have been very rough for me. Not only the last couple days, but the last couple months. It's just been really rough since COVID hit. I never really had issues with depression and anxiety like I have in the last couple years. It's been at an ultimate high. I haven't been to a point where I'm like suicidal or anything like that. But it's just mentally, it's a strain for me. It's like every time I feel like I'm getting back to my normal self, a wave hits me harder and harder, and it starts to put me back in that position. But at least we have football, and at least I have you guys. So hopefully that, at any point, if you guys are going through the same type of things, like I said, reach out to me. And anytime, if I can make things a little bit better, Odin's child hit me up today, asked how I was doing. And it's always nice to, feel cared about and feel loved. And like I said, we always have a great community here. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep grinding. I got my thumbnails from Johnny last night. So obviously Johnny's doing great work for me and Tom Grossi. Obviously the Packers and the Bucks lost, so the collab didn't happen. They raided the channel. Grossi did, when my Bucks got their ass kicked by the Rams. I'm still looking forward to a collab, and we will get a collab when the Packers and Bucks play. I think pretty much every time the Bucks and the Packers play, we're going to collab together. I just really wanted it with Rodgers and Brady. This last hurrah for both of them, it would have been amazing, but it just wasn't meant to be. But the collabs will happen in the future, and I'm going to keep grinding it out. Shout out to Tom Grossi, and shout out to the Grossi posse. I see you. Lockout crew in the building. He said Sean Payton. Yeah, we were talking about that as well. Any ideas for head coach for the Raiders? Well, you got Richard Bashasha. All right, Richard Bashasha. He had obviously ties with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not sure. I'm not sure really what you're going to get. I mean, there's so many openings. At one point, there was about 9 or 10 openings. Some of them have gotten filled. Nathaniel Hackett is the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. So we obviously know, he went from Green Bay's OC, and then boom. So you're not going to be able to get him, right? And then obviously we've seen this guy right here, Matt Eberflus. All right. He was the Colts defensive coordinator. So you have an OC going to, from Green Bay to Denver. Now you have a DC going from the Colts to the Chicago Bears, right? Dan Quinn is staying on the Dallas Cowboys, even though they need to fire Mike McCarthy. And then this guy, Dennis Allen, might be the next man up for the New Orleans Saints, because we already know Sean Payton is walking away, probably doing, TV, hanging out with fam. And then maybe he'll end up, going to the Dallas Cowboys. And if you can pair him up with Dan Quinn, that could be a magic recipe of success, just depending if they can get that. And then the fans can be happy like this guy. Oh, yeah, Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, and we win a game. All right, but until that happens, the Macho Man experience is not going to happen for the Dallas Cowboys. One day, it may happen, but just not yet. Now, speaking of the Raiders, all right, the Raiders. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you got weapons there. I think a lot of people, are hating on Carr. It's like, Carr's not the problem. I keep having to tell Raiders fans this. They're like, put in Mariota, put in Marcus. I was like, dude, he's not better than Carr. I mean, I think Mariota is a guy that could succeed somewhere like in New England if he had the right pieces around him. But I just think that he gets injured too much. He's got a good, touchdown to interception ratio. But Carr is the guy. Waller is the guy. Josh Jacobs is the guy. The offensive line is horrible. Defense is horrible. All right. So you need to be able to bring in someone that can get the defense to where it needs to be, top 15, hopefully top 10. Offensive line needs to be rebuilt from the very top. Getting Alex Leatherwood, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. The Mayock is gone. Gruden is gone. I don't really know how ideal of a situation the Raiders head coaching job is. I mean, they did make, a run, to try to go to the playoffs. And I said within the first 3 years of Vegas that they would make the playoffs. They did in year 2. So your boy knows I got the ESP. But to be able to make it further along, you're going to need to do a whole rebuild. And I'm not really sure what candidates are going to be available, Cyberpunk 53, for the Raiders. Like, who really wants to go there? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. And I assume a couple more people will get fired. A couple more people will get hired. And once the dust settles, we'll see where everyone is at. Dan Quinn staying with the Cowboys. Yes, we went over that as well. Urban Meyer. No, nobody wants fucking Urban Meyer whatsoever. Cyber, they're interviewing Josh McDaniels tomorrow. So Josh McDaniels could be a guy. I mean, we've seen him do the Denver Broncos thing, and it didn't really work out for him, long term. He's more of an OC rather than a head coach. But, I mean, maybe he could give you that swag like Gruden had, many, many years ago, that maybe he could get them over the top. Josh McDaniels could be a candidate there, but we'll have to wait and see. Joe Fly, Aaron going to Denver and winning a Super Bowl. Not guaranteed necessarily. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers kind of chokes in the big games and hasn't really proven, that he can win the big games. I mean, you got to think out of all of the opportunities when Brett Favre was there in Lambeau, they were like 12-0, winning at Lambeau, winning in NFC championship games, divisional wild card. Then Aaron Rodgers took over. They have the worst percentage at Lambeau for a home team out of any team in the NFL. I think he's like 7-7. That's not good. So you got to be able to find a way to mentally get out of your head. And some of the losses, are on him. Obviously, he didn't play very good against the Niners. I think we can give credit to that. But the special teams, Mason Crosby, special teams in general was absolutely horrendous this year. Running the run game, the run defense was absolutely horrible. So we'll see, you know what I mean, with Denver, if they can, have that new fresh faces, fresh coaches, but also having someone that you're familiar with Nathaniel Hackett. I'm not sure if you can win a Super Bowl in Denver, but I definitely think that you could be a winner in Denver, and it would be a new challenge for Aaron. Winning Super Bowls is tough, especially if you're going to have to get past Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes is there with Josh Allen and obviously Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, if you go to Denver, it's definitely going to be a lot tougher, to get to the Super Bowl rather than going to an NFC team. But obviously, I don't think an NFC team is in the wings for Aaron Rodgers. I think Denver seems like the most logical spot. Them or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben obviously retired. That could be a destination, but it's just going to be harder to go to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl on the AFC side, with all that competition. NFC, there's a lot of parity as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not sure if he's going to immediately just win a Super Bowl. Winning Super Bowls is tough. And if Aaron was so good, how come he only has one under his belt? If he was so good, a lot of it's not his fault. Defensive coordinator, special teams, Mason Crosby sucking at kicker, obviously special teams coach absolutely sucking balls and being horrible. But is Aaron Rodgers overrated? You know what I mean? It's like Breeze got one, Russell Wilson got one, okay? Right? Aaron Rodgers got one, but all of them should have gotten at least two. But also you got the Tom Brady and the Patrick Mahomes factor as well. So we'll see. Is Aaron overrated, or is he really that fucking good? Is he just a paper champ? Is he a guy that's just great in the regular season but can't win it when it counts in the playoffs? Some guys are like that. Some guys are just amazing in the regular season and can tear it up, but when it comes to the playoffs, they just can't get it done. So we'll see what the legacy is. But, Aaron still got a lot left in the tank, so we're going to have to wait to see where he would go. I would think Josh would wait for the Pats job, Cyberpunk 53. Yeah, who knows how long Tom is going to play unless he retires this year. Belichick might coach until he's fucking 80 years old. But I think, Josh McDaniels, just like, this guy right here, all right, should just wait. Josh McDaniels taking over for Belichick makes sense, all right? But after Andy Reid, right, we know how great that he is. Just wait, my dude, Eric Bieniemy. Just wait. Don't go to Houston or Jags or any of these other places. Just stay pat, stay there. Josh McDaniels, just stay there, and then eventually you could be the guy taking over for Andy Reid or Josh McDaniels taking over for Bill Belichick. But with Bill, you don't really know how long he's going to coach for. I mean, he might be coaching there for fucking eternity. That's facts. So I think Sean Payton might go to the Cowboys after next season because they said he already has a house worth $2 million in Texas, so he would be at home. Well, I think that's everyone thought that. Sean Payton actually coached for Dallas years ago, in the coaching tree. So he's already familiar there, and he could get him over the top. And whether you have Dan Quinn at defensive coordinator or not, it would be a natural destination. And I imagine Jerry Jones hit him up, regardless if he wants to admit it or not. But he probably called him and said, hey, I'll fire McCarthy right now if you want to come. You know what I mean? Probably just, keeping it secret or whatnot. But I imagine he hit him up. But if he wants to take some time with his family, maybe go to TV and do that and then see, I think Sean Payton going to Dallas seems like the natural fit, and I would not be shocked if he goes to Dallas in a year or two. And that's big facts. Bobby Murphy in the building. What it do? Alan Counts. Is Kellen Moore coming back or Cooper? I don't know, man. I don't know. Kellen Moore needs to go. That play calling, McCarthy needs to go. Kellen Moore's got to go. They both got to take a dip and go somewhere else, man. YouTube GM in the building. What to do? So Alan, he says, Counts, he's had the house over since his days of the Cowboys since 2005. It only makes sense that Jerry hires him finally. MSA, I agree. Alan says that he's good with the surgery done yesterday. Good to hear. Elliot Evans is in the building. YouTube GM. What to do? Beefy Mick, what now? What to do, man? Orion, what's up, brother? Hope all is well. Well, with Tom Brady and the Bucs getting their ass kicked, I mean, it sucks. The season's over, but I'm still excited to see where everything goes. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone in the building. I promise I'll get caught up in the chat. I mean, I've already been grinding now for 53 minutes, but I wanted just to make sure I get to everyone's comments because you know how I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. This is like my therapy session with you guys as well. All right. Sean said in the press conference, I'm rooting for Cincinnati for Hendrickson and Von Bell and Eli, I guess. Now, he ain't fucking rooting for Eli. Eli Apple just trashing him. YouTube GM, you think the 49ers could win the Super Bowl if they have a rematch with the Chiefs? Anything is possible, all right? The 49ers are a power team, okay? They are a power team, all right? They're not finesse like the Rams. And I'll go over my picks tomorrow. I'll be doing my pick video where the Niners or the Rams or the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bengals. And it wouldn't surprise me in any scenario that we get. The most likely scenario, Chiefs and Rams. The least likely scenario, Bengals, Niners. Anything could happen because this is the type of year that it's been. But with the Niners, I think the Niners would have a better chance against the Bengals, honestly. I think the Niners can beat the Rams. They already are 6-0 in the last 3 years against them, 2-0 this year. So I know the Niners can beat the Rams. And, Sean McVay says that, Kyle Shanahan is not in his head. Lies, straight cap. It's in his head, that he just can't beat them. You're a finesse team. You got Stafford, you got, Von Miller, you got OBJ, but you still might not be able to beat a team that doesn't have the same kind of talent. What does that say about Kyle Shanahan? He has Jimmy Garoppolo. They got Matthew Stafford. Okay. They don't have the same kind of talent player for player that the Rams do. They have a great team. The Niners have Nick Bosa. They got Debo. They got some amazing players like Kittle, but player for player, Trent Williams, but they don't have the same kind of talent player for player, right, than the Rams do. The Rams can't beat them. The Rams can't beat them. They just can't do it. Kyle Shanahan is that damn good. Sean McVay's great as well, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kyle Shanahan, but I don't know. If I had to say if they could beat him, I don't think so. This might be destiny for the Chiefs, but you got to get past Cincinnati, and Cincinnati beat them at the end of the regular season in Cincinnati. Refereeing was absolutely horrendous, but a dub is a dub. And the Niners, the other underdog, beat the Rams twice this year. Okay, so you could be down 17-0 to the Rams, and the Niners can come back and win. They proved it this year, and they proved it the last 3 years. They're 6-0 against the Rams in the last 3 years. That's facts. Said it would be kind of sad for them to lose the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in a 2-year span. But Kyle Shanahan, it shows how great he is. You just need to get someone better than Jimmy G. Trey Lance, who gave up all those picks for him. At some point, I think the Niners and the Rams will both win Super Bowls, but it's not going to be easy. Tom is still around. Mahomes is around. Josh Allen and some of these other guys like Joe Burrow are getting better and better. We're going to have to wait and see on how everything plays out. Adam Baum in the building. What to do? Air Whitey, I'm curious to see how bad the salary cap gets after this offseason. Obviously, in cap hell, the Packers as well as the Saints, but you're not negative $70 million, so it could be much worse, just like the Saints. So you look at Green Bay's free agency, less shit, it looks like starting lineup for a Pro Bowl team. Absolutely. So what teams do you want to see in the Super Bowl? Adam Baum, any of the teams that are left, I wouldn't care, to see. It's not really going to – if you get the Bengals and the Niners, it would be probably the most shocking, but I think it would be exciting to see, because at that point, the Niners could probably win the Super Bowl, and the Bengals, obviously, with Joe Burrow could, maybe, raise that Lombardi. But, the Rams and the Chiefs and the way that they've been playing, that's got to be probably the most favored matchup. The least likely is the Niners and the Bengals, but I'm telling you, with all these matchups, home field advantage seems like it doesn't really mean a whole lot now. You know what I mean? They went 5-1 in the wild card round, right, for the road teams. The only team that lost was the Cowboys at home. Then the complete opposite. You went 3-1 on the road, right, in the divisional. So now you're getting to the NFC AFC championship game. The Bengals have already beaten the Chiefs. The Niners have already beaten the Rams. So, is it payback for the Chiefs and the Rams? We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. So I feel like the Chiefs will figure it out right now. Their cap situation isn't bad. YouTube GM. I hear you. So I think Kirk Cousins realistically is the best available option other than Rodgers for the Colts. Well, there'll be a few other options, I feel, as well. We'll have to kind of wait and see how everything kind of plays out. Stay up, Orion. Try inhaling your THC rather than digesting it once in a while. Yeah, I know. I need to do that at some point. You got jokes out, dog. I always do, my dude. I always do. YouTube GM in the building. See, Cyberpunk 53. I'm surprised that Doug Peterson hasn't been mentioned as a head coach. Well, there's been some talks about him, you know what I mean? But he hasn't really been getting a whole lot of love in the media compared to some of the others that are out there as well. Let's see here. I am scrolling down and trying to get caught up. And I think I am caught up pretty much now. I'm finally caught up. I said, Bucks to the pit of misery. Dilly dilly. Rams will win. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know about that, man. Niners have beaten that ass last 6 times. Anyone that thinks the Rams are just going to run over everyone, they might be able to beat the Niners finally and go 1-6 against them in the last 7 opportunities. But I don't think the Rams, if they make the Super Bowl, they're not beating the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are the best team out of the 4 teams that are left. Mahomes is starting to catch fire at the right time. Defense looks good. Kelsey's unguardable. Tyreek is unguardable. Offensive line is getting the chemistry. They got Andy Reid and they got Eric Bieniemy. I don't know. So, the Rams could win. Definitely anyone can beat anyone on any given Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, anytime the games are on. But we have to kind of wait for these games to play out for the AFC and the NFC championship game. I'm finally caught up. It only took me almost an hour to get caught up to everyone's comments, but I hope you guys understand. Obviously I don't like to, I don't like to ignore anyone. I like to make sure everyone, it feels appreciated and loved and heard. The Rams are great. I mean, they beat the brakes off the Cardinals. They beat the brakes off my Bucks, but I almost came back. If we had 5 more minutes and we went to overtime and found a way, I really think that Tampa would have won that game. But with that being said, we could have easily won that game, played the Niners, and lost. I mean, it's just the way that the season has been going. There is no guarantee that you're going to go to a championship and win every year. And we've obviously seen that, even though Tom was great for me last year and won the Super Bowl. No one can take that away from me. Okay. I got 2 Super Bowls with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl 37 with John Gruden, with my boy Mike Allstott, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, John Lynch, Ronnie Barber. Okay. No one can take that away from me, as well as what Tom Brady, Gronk, and obviously the ones that I really love, Levante David, Devin White, and the reason we won, Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield Jr. And it shows you, when you don't have defense and you don't have your guy like Tristan Wirfs, I mean, you can't do anything. You really need those guys, and he's the best right tackle in the game, and it just was shitty timing for him to get hurt. And no Chris Godwin and no AB. It's just really frustrating. If we would have had a healthy team, I really think that we could have, gone for 2, or at least got to the Super Bowl and lost, or NFC Championship game. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's very hard to repeat as champions, and it's very hard to get to back-to-back Super Bowls or back-to-back-to-back, AFC Championship games or NFC, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's facts. So I guess even 1 second Mahomes can say, the limited amount of time that there is out there, anything can happen, right? That's big facts. Sir Luke sending me a donation. Thank you so much. Bang! Sir Luke, $2 dono on Cash App. Everything happens for a reason. Everything matters. So I appreciate you guys very much. Any kind of donation that you can provide is definitely going to be benefiting me and benefiting the channel for all the hard work and the energy that I put in. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Okay, and I'm going to be I'm watching the Chiefs and the Bills on NFL Network. So if you guys want to hop on there and watch that, this is going to be a Q&A. I've been going over the kind of the coaching changes, where people are going to fall. And like I said, I appreciate you guys very, very much, man. And I get guys like this. You know what I mean? We had fun last season. Beefy McWhat now? What it do, man? I missed you. I haven't seen you in quite some time. I hope you're doing well. Orion, what do you think about the likelihood of Danger Russ would come to Tampa? Other than the Seahawks, I could definitely see the Bucs as a good chemistry team for him, Godwin, Evans, and Lenny. Oh, yeah. But can we afford something like that? I think the most natural place for, Danger Russ is going to be New York. All right, Danny Dimes and Joe Judge, and that's just a kind of a fucking disaster. If they keep building the O-line, the weapons on offense, going somewhere with Sierra, his wifey, if it's not in LA, New York, getting New York back on the map, I think that would be the most natural place for him. If you weren't negative $70 million over the cap like the Saints, that could be another place where Rodgers or Russell Wilson could take that team to the NFC Championship, the Super Bowl, and win, because they got a great running back in AK-41 and a great offensive line by Ryan Ramczyk, a great defense with who? Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, a.k.a. the glue, Lattimore. But now you're, negative $70 million over the cap. Lattimore might be gone. Michael Thomas might be gone. Sean Payton's gone. Breeze is gone. I mean, Jameis might be gone. So we're going to have to see. But I would love Danger Russ in Tampa. But what would we have to give up to get him? We'd have to give up a lot. But if we brought Russell to Tampa, we could definitely get back to another NFC Championship game. But I'm not sure how realistic that is. You know what I mean? But I do know the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era in Seattle is coming to an end. You're going to get rid of both or one. I mean, if you want to get rid of Pete Carroll, I'm not sure if the replacement you're going to get is going to be better than him. And if you're going to stick with Pete Carroll, what are you going to get in return if you let Russell go? Or you might have to start over and rebuild. And they've proven with John Schneider as well as Pete Carroll, they don't know what they're doing in Seattle. Because as soon as the Legion of Boom and that Super Bowl ended, they should have been drafting secondary, offensive line, and defense heavily. Right? And did they draft offensive line year in and year out? No, they did not. They didn't really rebuild the Legion of Boom. Yeah, you got Bobby Wagner and you had some of these pieces. Frank Clark left to Kansas City, but you never rebuilt the defense. The defense has been absolutely horrible. But the number one thing that they should have did was build the O-line for Russell. You know what I mean? You got Chris Carson and you got Tyler get to the door and lock it. DK Metcalf is great. Right? But it would have been much better getting studs on the offensive line. And then the Seattle Seahawks could have still been relevant. And they could have still, made some more additional NFC Championship games, divisional rounds, or Super Bowls. But you just ignored the fact. So that shows to me that Pete Carroll and John Schneider, they had their run when Russell was a rookie. They had their couple Super Bowls. They won one, they lost one. But what could have been? They could have gone to at least another one, I feel, if they kept beefing up the defense and the offensive line. But, Brandon Browner and Earl Thomas III, Richard Sherman, they just ignored everything, especially the offensive line. It shows you how important the offensive line is, especially if you're going against the Niners, the Rams, and the Cardinals. You knew those teams were on the up and up. Why did you not address those issues that you had? But I would love Russell Wilson in Seattle to Tampa, but I just don't think that's going to happen, man. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I would love for it to happen. And I'm glad that you're in the room. I love you and I appreciate you, my dude. And again, this is going to be a Q&A. Obviously, for anything you guys want to talk about, I'll probably be online for a couple hours. I've already been online now for an hour. So again, grind to 25K subs. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ORION-NWSF, or the YouTube super chat right here. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. I love you and I appreciate you guys. My AFC, NFC picks, for the AFC, NFC championship game video will be for tomorrow. And like I said, even with my depression and my anxiety at an all-time high, like I said, if I didn't mention it to you guys based off my energy and how you see me, you would never know. You know what I mean? But I think that's really what separates me from a lot of the other YouTubers and people on social media. I'm 100% real all the time. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm going to be real. The way that I am on screen is the way that I'm off. If I'm struggling, you guys are going to know about it. But if I can make a difference in people's lives, like with Zini Panini, obviously with her sister ODing and dying, we sent her, me and another Eagle fan, Prayer Man, sent her some money to buy her like a jersey, some Eagles merch, right? And what did she end up doing? I think she ended up giving the money to her mom to buy her something on NFL Shop, because her mom is a Broncos fan, I believe. And so she ended up doing that. So I ended up sending her more, so that way she could buy something for herself. Because, she's just a selfless person like me. I helped Marcus Pineda. His ankle broke. Was out from Nike headquarters for about 3 weeks. Money was tight, so anytime I can send money or send gifts, to the Fanatic family, if you guys show me love and support, with the subscribing to the channel, being active in the chat, donating to me, if something comes up and I can make a difference, like Will the Thrill all the way in Scotland. I think his power was going to go out, you know what I mean? And he needed like $35 to make sure him and Moira were okay. And, he was going to do a stream to earn the money, but then he was afraid to do it. And I just sent him the money. You know what I mean? If I don't have extra money all the time, you know what I mean? But if I have a little bit, then I can help people that support me. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So, as long as you love each other, you appreciate each other, the grind is real, and building those relationships with the fans, I think that's really what separates me from a lot of the other people. If I can put a smile on someone's face, even when I'm hurting inside, and even when I'm not in a good space, mentally, that makes everything for me. And I know it makes a big difference for them, because if you're NWSF, right, you're NWSF for how long? For life, brother. All right. If you're NWSF and you're part of this, you know what I mean? You're not hopping off the train. All right. We're just like the NWO. New world order. NWSF is just like the NWO. It's NWO, NWSF for life, brother. Okay? Oh, yeah. Just like my boy Macho Man and the NWO. You feel me? You feel me? We're a family here. Just like you see in the bottom right-hand corner. We are the Fanatic fam, and we are a family here. You feel me? That's what we are. Appreciate you guys, and I love you very, very much. YouTube GM said, do you think Kyle Trask could be the quarterback of the future for the Bucs? Have you heard any updates on him? Absolutely not. He had a good career, at Florida. Regardless if you have like a Blaine Gabbert or any of these other guys that they have on the bench, they're absolutely a dumpster fire, trash heap. Okay, those guys are not good enough to go into the Tom Brady legacy, and take over from him. You're going to have to try to get a guy, like a Ryan Tannehill talent, a Carr talent, a Kirk Cousins kind of talent. If you don't get someone that on that type of level, you're not going to be able to succeed with a Kyle Trask or any of the other guys that they've had in the last couple of years, like a Blaine Gabbert. You're going to have to try to recruit a guy like a Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't mind having a Kirk Cousins on the team. Of course, you would rather have like a Russell Wilson, a Danger Russ type of talent, but I don't know how realistic that is. Godwin might be gone. A lot of the guys, I actually looked at the free agent list for the guys on the Buccaneers. It doesn't look good. There's a lot of guys, that are going to be available to leave. And depending on if Tom decides to go as well, we might be going from a team that, hit the mountain last year. And then now we might be, second or third in the NFC South, depending on who stays and who leaves. There could be teams like the Panthers and the Falcons that even pass us in the NFC South, believe it or not, depending on who we can keep, with the money that we have. So, I'm grateful that we ended up getting that second Super Bowl I honestly thought Super Bowl 37 would be the only one that I would win in my lifetime. I never thought Tampa would get Brady. I never thought there would be another Super Bowl in my lifetime. I was happy with the one, you know what I mean? But getting that second one was a dream come true. But yeah, Kyle Trask, definitely not good enough. I watched him in preseason. Yes, guys can develop. I don't think he's good enough to be the guy to take over. I absolutely do not think anyone on the roster is good enough to take over for Tom Brady at this point. Gruden made the Super Bowl sus because some Raiders players were saying that they're new defensive planes. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, Gruden, he was great, and for me early on. He was great for the Raiders back then. But if you remember Barrett Robbins, having to take over, and then you had some of those pieces where the center ended up, having like a mental, problem, and then they had to end up getting a new center, in that Super Bowl. Obviously with everything that happened, the Raiders, could have been without the tuck rule. What could have been for the Raiders instead of Tom Brady? I mean, the Raiders could have ended up having a couple Super Bowls under their belt with Rich Gannon and Charlie Gardner and Tim Brown and, all the pieces that they had. But, the rest is history, with Tom Brady and the tuck rule and everything that happened. But, yeah, Gruden with the kind of the racist comments. Obviously they wanted to make an example of him, but there's a lot of racist fucking people in the NFL. There's a lot of racist fucking people that are in America. You know what I mean? They just wanted to make an example out of Gruden because I guarantee there's a lot of brothers out there, either, in the NFL hating on some of the other people. And there's a lot of probably, the Caucasian people out there, whether they want to admit it or not, saying, language that's inappropriate. There's a lot of people that do that shit. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily right. But I think that they definitely tried to make an example out of Gruden. And I don't necessarily think Gruden is a full-blown racist, but because we don't really know all the details. But there is a lot of racism out there in America. And Gruden won't be coaching again in the NFL because of he, pretty much getting labeled a racist and all the things that happen. Unexcusable behavior. But to act like Gruden is the only one, let's be real. There's a lot of people out there in the NFL, just like Belichick and the cheating. Yeah, Belichick got an example made out of him, but he kept on cheating. But if you think that Belichick is the only one in the NFL that cheats, or tries to get the advantage, there's a lot of people, a lot of the greats that we really look up to, like the Lance Armstrongs and all these people that do all these amazing things, or the baseball players like Barry Bonds. And then you find out these guys are cheaters, you know what I mean? And they're doing drugs or they're, spying or doing all these things. Then you lose a lot of respect for a lot of these guys because they're trying to do whatever it takes to win. But if you're cheating, the legacy is tarnished at that point, and which is really sad, for the people that really try to make a name for themselves. That's why like guys like Ken Griffey Jr., my hero besides my dad, is very legendary to me. I met him when I was 7 in his rookie year in 1989, met Ken Griffey Sr. as well. He had 10 years of great, baseball play, 10 years of injuries, and then he got fat, and then he walked away from the game. He could have been number 1 in home runs easily, Ken Griffey Jr., if he had 15 healthy years and 5 banged up years, but he walked away from the game fat, right? But never cheated. And I think the legacy of Ken Griffey Jr. is much higher than any other baseball player in that era. Higher than Sosa, higher than Rafael Palmeiro, higher than Bonds, higher than McGuire. Just how it goes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't get the numbers, but your legacy will never be tarnished, especially with Ken Griffey Jr. That's facts. If the Bengals win, I can almost guarantee the 40 Winers will beat the Lambs. No cap. We'll see. We'll see. And the thing is, the Niners have already beaten, the Rams the last 6 times. So if the Bengals win, we could get Bengals Niners. We could definitely get that scenario. That's facts. I definitely see that happening. It could happen. So I'm ready for NFL free agency. I think a lot of people are. So why not Russell Wilson in Indy? Hey, it could be. Could be. Definitely could be there. Message from a Golden Eagle. Brooks retires, $13 million on the cap. Let's go. Yeah, Brandon Brooks. I saw that. Yeah, the Eagles have a bright future as well. A lot of people thought that Jalen Hurts wasn't good enough to be the QB. False. You guys got beat, by the, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's early in his career. Just keep building that offensive line, keep building the wide receiving core. You already got Dallas Goedert there, Devontae Smith. You got Miles Sanders there. You got Jalen Hurts. What you need is defense. Secondary help, safety, corners, linebackers, pass rushers, D tackles. Fletcher Cox isn't getting any younger, but pass rusher, linebacker, safety, corner, wide receiver, those are going to be the pieces that the Eagles are going to be looking at. Sad to see Brooks go. Kelsey's still there. You have still some pieces that are there. Jason Peters tried to do it for as long as he could. Brandon Brooks, obviously had some injury issues. The Eagles have just been banged up since 2017, with all the injuries, but I think the Eagles have a bright future, and I could definitely see them making the playoffs next year if they hit on the draft at this point. That's facts. All right, time to drink some beer, my guys and my girls. Appreciate you guys very much. Is there anything you want to talk about? I just want to know how you feel. Oh, a Cash App. Bill Brewer. My boy, Cyberpunk. Bang! Are you in the room? Cyberpunk, are you in the room? Cyberpunk is always taking care of me, man. Mr. Brewer, Cyberpunk, 53. My boy right here, man. My boy right here. Cyberpunk 53. And I'll go back up here. It seems like you are in the building, dude. Bang! $50 dono, my boy. Bill Brewer, Cyberpunk 53. Bang, 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 bang. Always doing big donos, like with the $50 donos. Thank you so much, man. Some people never donate. Some people donate when they can. Some people never donate at all. And when I get someone, you're one of the heavy hitters that really keeps the channel afloat. I can't tell you enough, Bill, how much you mean to me. You got guys like yourself. All right. You got guys, like, Nate the Great. All right. You got Nate the Great, which is very special to me, a big Bronco fan. You got Cyberpunk 53. All right. You got Holly Hundo. You got these, big ones that are always on the channel. Shepard Williams, Odin's son, Odin's child. Thank you so much, man. I'm getting kind of caught up to the rest of the messages. I didn't know if you were still in the room. Like I said, I just didn't realize how many things that were in the chat. There's so many things that I need to get caught up in, but I'm getting there in just a second. Thank you so much. Bang, 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 bang. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you so much, dude. You have no idea, man. Like, what I'm saying? Like, especially with just all the things that I've been going through, it just makes it feel so, I feel so loved and appreciated, you know what I mean, with everything that happens. Thank you so, so much, man. Now I got to get caught up again. So much, man. You are the fucking man, dude. Thank you so much. All right. I thought I was caught up in the chat until I started scrolling down, and then I realized there was another like 50 messages. It shows you that you guys have so many things there. Thank you so much. Salter in the building. What to do? Rowe in the building said, thoughts on Hurts season? We talked about expectations prior to the season. Yeah, well, when they predicted 2 or 3 wins, they ended up making the playoffs. I like him a lot. I think that he is the future of the team. You don't want to go for another quarterback. I mean, he's a Dak 2.0. So if you keep building the defense, keep building the offensive line, get him another weapon at wide receiver, they're fine. They can compete with the Cowboys, the Washington football team, the Giants. I mean, Washington football team, Washington Generals, Washington, whatever the fuck your name is. You know what I mean? Washington football team, if you're going to keep it, the Giants, they're on the back burner. It's pretty much the Eagles and the Cowboys, moving forward, at least for now. We'll have to see on how those other teams, Washington and New York, pan out. If they get Russell Wilson in New York or if Washington keeps building their roster. But I do like Hurts a lot. Obviously, it was a tough matchup against Tampa Bay. But a lot of people are kind of throwing him out the door like he's not good enough to be the guy. Their expectations. Remember, the media had them only winning 2 or 3 games, and you won a lot more. And on top of that, all right, Sirianni didn't even start running the football until like November. So if they actually ran the football heavy, with their running backs, right, in September and October, they probably could have matched the Dallas Cowboys record, in the playoffs and getting more dubs. So I think the future is very, very bright for, obviously, Philly. And they might want to trade up because they don't have any top 10 picks, but they got 3 in the first round. They're going to definitely need to hit on those picks. That's facts. Say, yeah, bro, missed you too. It was a fun season. I'm glad I was able to catch your live stream. Glad your channel's still growing. All the best, brother. Thank you so much. Adventures with AG. Of course. Why would I not be cool with Rams fans? I'm always going to be good. You guys beat our ass. You guys are fine. Like I said, good luck, obviously, this weekend. You guys are going to need it against the 49ers, 0-6. Last 6 matchups. We'll see what happens, though. Say solid, never be good enough to bring a franchise to win. If he needs to pass, Minshew is probably a better option. It's early still. You know what I mean? You get more weapons out there. You know what I mean? You got to understand certain quarterbacks and certain players aren't going to be able to take off. And you might not even have the right play caller or head coach there either. And obviously if the defense can't stop anyone, they're going to get tired, and then you got to go out there, a lot of 3 and outs. So, to just say that Jalen Hurts is not a good option, obviously we know Minshew is pretty good as well, but give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? Give a guy a chance once they go through this draft. You got to give a guy like a quarterback, 2 to 4 years to see really what they're going to do, who the coaches are, who the coordinators are, who they build around. But I think Jalen Hurts could be the guy for Philly. Winning makes everyone forget about all the bullshit that happened in the past. Okay? That's facts. Rowe said, what lock would you take Garrett Wilson through of R3? Interesting. Garrett Wilson's nice. Olave's nice. We'll have to see what happens there as well. Salter, what do you see in the future with the Stafford-McVay combo? Super Bowls? Absolutely. If they don't get one this year, I think that McVay as well as Kyle Shanahan, before their careers are over, I could see them both winning at least one Super Bowl. They're the two best, smartest, brightest minds in the NFL. And I've said this in the last 2 or 3 years. Those are my two favorite coaches in the NFL that are young. Yeah, there's the Belichicks and the Andy Reids and the Bruce Arians. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the young guns that have the best play calling ability. I mean, if you actually listen to them call plays, it's amazing to hear them call plays. If you saw Gruden in Super Bowl 37, trying to teach Brad Johnson the terminology, he literally would say 25 words, which would be like 3 plays. The initial play, it's like, spider 2 wide banana plus another, set of verbiage and then another set of verbiage. So it's like the initial play, then where the wide receivers are going on their routes, right? And then an audible for another play. And that was like 25 words. Imagine having to learn 25 words in the huddle and that's one play. That's tough. That's tough for anyone, even if you're fucking went to Harvard like Ryan, Fitzmagic. You're not going to remember all of that shit, and it doesn't make you an idiot if you can't remember 25 fucking words for one play. But Brad Johnson eventually got it, and he helped us get to the Super Bowl. And if you go and look at Brad Johnson's stats on offense that year, even though he was a journeyman like Rich Gannon, he actually was fucking amazing in that 2002, 2003 year. Look at his touchdown to interception ratio. Your mind will be blown. You'll be like, wow, Brad actually played pretty good. Yeah, we had Keyshawn. We had Keenan McCardell. All right. We had Joe Juravicius. All right. We had nice pieces all around. Michael Pittman, Ken Dilger, we had Jeff Christie at center. You know what I mean? We had good pieces there. Mike Allstott, we know how great A-Train was. Choo-choo, my favorite player on the Bucs of all time, besides Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp and Rondé Barber, John Lynch, Simeon Rice. But we essentially have one Hall of Famer, Mike Allstott on the offensive end, a lot of great good players, Keyshawn, Keenan McCardell, Joe Juravicius at wide receiver, Ken Dilger at tight end, Jeff Christie at center was amazing, right? Brad Johnson was a journeyman. But the defense, 4 Hall of Famers, and then you could have had a 5th one with Simeon Rice, but he's probably not going to get in. You're not going to be able to replicate those kind of defensive players unless you look at Tampa's team from last year. Devin White will probably be a Hall of Famer. Levante David will probably be a Hall of Famer. Will Ndamukong Suh be a Hall of Famer? I don't know. And then, Antoine Winfield Jr., based on how his career goes, he might be a Hall of Famer at some point. You know what I mean? So you just don't really know. But, I mean, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, John Lynch, Rondé Barber. I mean, I don't know if there's any other 5 guys that are better than those 5. I mean, we had the 85 Bears, the Bears. We had Ray Lewis, and obviously we knew how great he was on the 2000 Ravens. But that 2002 Bucs team, I mean, I could put that defense against any defense out there. Yeah, I know there was Richard Dent and Michael Singletary, but to go with Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, and Simeon Rice, and how they played that season, I don't know if you're ever going to match the talent out of those 5 guys, let alone guys like Shelton Quarles and Dwight Smith and all the other guys that we had, Brian Kelly, Booger McFarland, even though he didn't play in the Super Bowl, even though he's horrible on the fucking mic. I mean, we had an amazing player for player defense. Greg Spires. I mean, if you go and look at all the guys that they had, even the role players were fucking out of this world. And that's facts. Let's see here. He's like, I hope Tampa Bay gets Wentz so then I can lose. Fuck out of here. We don't want Wentz. I mean, Wentz didn't do horrible this season. Okay. He didn't do horrible this season, but he's not a fit in Tampa Bay. He absolutely had a horrible game there in Jacksonville at the end of the year, and they should have ended up going to the playoffs. But Tampa Bay don't want Wentz. All right. You know what I mean? Like, I thought Wentz and Jameis, did better than people were anticipating. But, towards the end of the year, when you have to be able to beat a team like Jacksonville and you can't get it done, it raises a lot of question marks moving forward. And obviously you're a hater of Tampa Bay, saying that Tampa Bay gets Wentz. Okay, I see what you're thinking. Obviously you're a Rams fan and you're a hater, so I see how you're going with that. All right? Yeah, so we don't want them. We don't want them. All right? You're right about Hurts. I think Minshew is just a good to very solid backup, though. Yeah, I was just wondering, all right. I think Minshew could start for you guys. He's got a lot of moxie. He went to Washington State. I watched his whole career. He's a winner. He is a winner. He's probably the best backup in the league, and he could start for probably, 8 to 10 teams in the NFL. Gardner Minshew, Mustache Minshew. He's great, right? But Hurts, I think like having 2 good quarterbacks, there's nothing wrong with that. If Hurts gets hurt, Minshew could come in, and Philly, as long as you guys draft correctly on the defense and you can hit on another, maybe a wide receiver, get some more weapons. It's about the offensive line, and getting some more depth with Goddard and Devontae Smith. You need more weapons there. You have a lot of talent that's out there, but you need some top tier talent. You need to have better O-line, another great wide receiver with, Devontae Smith on one side, Dallas Goedert in the middle. No more Zach Ertz because we know he's on the Cardinals, but the defense wins championships. Defense wins games. I think Hurts and Minshew are great. I think that they could end up, they're never going to be top 10 quarterbacks, either one of them, but they both are somewhere between maybe 14 through 20. Yeah, but sometimes both of them can play like a top 10 quarterback. Sometimes you're going to play somewhere between 20 and 30. And sometimes they're going to have bad games. But you got to give the guys time to be able to prove themselves. And if you don't have the right coach, right play caller, and you don't have depth, of course, teams are going to look bad. Like when they played Tampa Bay, they got fucking manhandled. But did anyone really think Philly was going to beat Tampa Bay? Fuck no. The matchup wasn't good. You knew that. I mean, unless you're a Philly fan that was just maybe blinded by everything, thinking that they were going to beat Tampa, I knew they weren't going to win. I knew that it might be a blowout. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that Hurts is a bad quarterback, bro. I like him a lot. I liked him even before the season started. I thought that he is a guy that has got leadership. You know what I mean? And winning takes away all the bad shit. All the haters and all the bullshit that goes on. If you win games, and if you can win anywhere in the NFL, it's in the NFC East. Think about it. It's not hard to win there. The Giants are usually a clusterfuck of problems. Washington football team is disorganized. They're up and down. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're horrible, right? The Dallas Cowboys normally are 500, but they put it together this year, even though they got fucking stomped in the playoffs because the defense was stupid. Play calling on Kellen Moore and McCarthy was absolutely atrocious. The Niners beat them, right? But they had a good season, right? So you got the Eagles, they're just a few years away from winning the Super Bowl when no one thought they could do it. So I think with both of the guys, they have bright futures there. I mean, obviously Minshew might end up going somewhere else. I would take him in Tampa Bay. I would feel a lot more comfortable with him than Trask or Blaine Gabbert or anyone else. I think Minshew could be good, but I think Minshew and Hurts have a cap. They're only going to go so high, depending on who's coaching them and the supporting cast. And I'll tell you what, Philly needs to hit on these 3 draft picks in the first round if they want to end up winning the NFC East. But even if they hit only on 2, they have the team and the mindset and the passion and the fans to be able to get back to the playoffs sooner than later. And that is, in my opinion, okay? Adventures with AG, Salter. But I think McVay's more happy about Stafford as he knows the plays. Yeah, Stafford is obviously, hitting his peak at the right moment. And obviously he's better than Jared Goff. But remember, Sean McVay took Jared Goff to a Super Bowl, just like Kyle Shanahan took Matt Ryan to a Super Bowl and Jimmy G. So a lot of people are just, shitting on him for maybe not winning. You know what I mean? But look who you went against. You went against Tom Brady and Mahomes. It's hard to win, but I think that Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan don't get enough credit. That's facts. Grossi's video of the Saints fan reaction to the season incredibly accurate. Of course, he watches football just like me. He knows everything. Cyberpunk 53 said Cash App on the way. Thank you so much, man. You know what I mean? There's so many haters all the time. It's always great to have people that really support you and all the grinding and the hard work. So I appreciate you very, very much. Cyberpunk 53, one of the legends in the room, one of the top 4, top 5 heavy hitters. You guys are the best, man. I love you and appreciate you so much. Say it was Ken Griffey Jr. versus the Juicehead hitter ERA. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I got the Ken Griffey Jr. autograph in the room on the Donruss card. I got pictures, still with him and Ken Griffey Sr. And it was before he even played his first pro game, I met him because it was in '89, right when he got called up. And I knew that he was going to be like one of my heroes and a legend. And I remember at the table, at the card show in Portland, I moved my hand on the table just because how nervous I was. Like at 7 years old, I knew the impact of meeting Ken Griffey Jr. at that point. It was just such an amazing moment. Not a lot of people have met a lot of famous people like that. And it'll be a memory that I will never, ever forget. Ken Griffey Jr. is a stud. Cyberpunk 53, $50 dono on the Cash App earlier. Thank you so much. Always supporting me, always showing love. I thank you so much, dude, for your generosity. And anytime that, Cyberpunk comes in the room and, and hangs out with your boy, he's always donating big. It's not like $1, $2. And there's nothing wrong. Sarah Small, bang, $1.99. Thank you so much. But when you end up doing the big ones, the 50s, the 100s, the 200s, the 300s, or Nate the Great with a $500 donation that we got a couple weeks ago. It's just so overwhelming that, it makes up for the other people, but it also just shows how much support that you have. And I never will forget you. I never will forget the heavy hitters as well as the people that even donate at all. Every person that does that, it means so much. Thank you so, so much. Appreciate you. Gang, 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 man. Let's go. Message from a Golden Eagle. Is Kenny Pickett a bust? We have to wait and see. Message from a Golden Eagle. Would you like a Super Bowl 54 rematch? I mean, I'll go into my picks tomorrow, like I said. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind having the Chiefs and Niners. I think that would be – I mean, obviously with the Rams fans, most of them from, the interactions that I have, pretty cocky, like to talk a lot of shit. They have a good team this year. Obviously you're having the game at home and you're having the game, obviously, in the Super Bowl in LA. There's some Rams fans that are kind of modest and humble, but a lot of them kind of have bad attitudes. I'll be honest. I mean, you should see the messages that I get on Instagram or Twitter. A lot of them are very, very cocky, very, very aggressive. Kind of reminds me of some of the Saints fan base. Some of them are, good people. Some of them are humble, but some of them are fucking absolutely crazy as fuck. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But anything is possible. The Rams have a good football team. Sean McVay is a great coach. You know what I mean? And every fan base is going to have good, fans that cheer for him. And you're going to have ones that are, kind of delirious and crazy. But it wouldn't, I mean, even though the Rams beat me, that wouldn't necessarily mean that I'm going against them for that pure reason. They got a great football team, but they're definitely copying Tampa Bay. I'm going all in with the OBJ and the Von Miller. But I would get a lot of satisfaction watching the Rams lose. I won't lie. You know what I mean? For the way that they talk to me, the way that they talk to other fan bases. I think they know that, this is their chance to get it done. But it wouldn't make me, I think that, if the Niners ended up beating them, would I be happy? Of course. If the Rams ended up beating the Niners and they finally got past Kyle Shanahan and they got absolutely fucking destroyed by the Chiefs, would I love that? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It all depends. Every fan base is a little bit different, but I wouldn't mind the Chiefs and the Niners. I don't know if the Niners could end up beating the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are the team that I'm rooting for. That's the team that I like, and I think is the strongest out of the four. But the Cincinnati Bengals and the Niners could both beat the Rams and the Chiefs, the favored teams. We're just going to have to wait and see. All right? All right. This guy's got to go. You got to go, my dude. I don't need to hear. Yeah, this guy's got to go. You got to go, man. ATZLAN. You're gone, man. You're gone, man. You're gone. I don't need to hear your comments in here. You're gone, my dude. Bye. All right. Agree. Gets a lot of bad flack for 4 or so bad games. All serious. I just worry Howie will be Howie. We will see. We will see. And then to say that I don't care about 99 cents or $2. You're one of the Rams haters, talking shit, coming into the room, talking about Tampa Bay and whatnot. So, hey, it's all good, man. You can go somewhere else and, you can go talk shit on another channel. As Mayfield on the quarterback hot seat for next season, I think absolutely. I think when they drafted him, Cyberpunk 53, when they drafted him, they thought he was Joe Burrow. He had a lot of swag and a lot of drip. It seems like he's doing a lot of commercials and cares more about that side of it. I don't think that, Cleveland is already kind of cursed, with football and everything that's going on. But I definitely think that it's in his head. And now he had the surgery with his arm. And I think that at some point you're going to have to think about replacing him. I mean, you got Nick Chubb, you got Kareem Hunt. You got to be able to beef up the O-line and the wide receivers and the tight ends and the defense. They were supposed to be the team this year. It was supposed to be the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And they fucking hit a wall. But I think Mayfield is a guy that you could replace. Would I want Baker on Tampa Bay? Absolutely not. I just think that he's limited on what he does on the field. His decision-making isn't the greatest. His arm strength isn't very good. And I think the leadership, when he ends up struggling or playing bad, I think at some point, it just, he kind of sulks and he doesn't really, I don't think the other teammates really look up to him. You know what I mean? Like in the same way of other quarterbacks in the NFL, he just seems like once he hits that point of adversity, his shoulders kind of go down. And, I don't think a lot of people see him as a guy that can bring a championship to Cleveland like LeBron did. I think Baker is on the hot seat and they will have to go and replace him at some point or another. And that's facts. Wentz owed us for the ring he got in 2017. So he dove to get us a decent first round pick. Yeah, I was glad that Wentz played overall pretty well. All right, overall pretty well. He played good, for the Colts. But just at the end there against Jacksonville, you should have went to the playoffs. And you don't want to finish a season like that. I mean, talk about collapses. I thought him and Jameis Winston played very well for their teams, in scenarios that were, made for their teams, for the Saints and the Colts. But moving forward, you know what I mean? You definitely can upgrade. And the Colts need a stud. You know what I mean? Same thing with the Saints. They need like a Pro Bowl stud quarterback. That was kind of a Band-Aid for both teams. But they both overachieved, in my opinion, and both played pretty well before Jameis got hurt with the injury and before that season-ending loss to Jacksonville. There's no way in hell you should have lost that game. So I lost a lot of respect for Wentz. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's bad games, but Jacksonville, I mean, to get to the playoffs and you couldn't even win that game, very frustrating, if you're a Wentz supporter, and that's facts. YouTube GM, Davis Mills, a 0.8 lower passer rating than Ryan Tannehill this year. Davis Mills played good. I mean, if you actually look at all the other quarterbacks, right, he actually played pretty good for the Houston Texans. I mean, Houston was kind of a dumpster fire, but you'd be surprised on how many 200, 300-yard games that he had. He actually wasn't too bad with no talent whatsoever really on the team at wide receiver or at tight end or running back, just a lot of journeymen. And I was actually pretty surprised on how good that he played. So that is a good fun fact right there. A lot of people don't realize how good Davis Mills for the Houston Texans actually played. Niner by nature in the building. Bang, bang. What up, fam? How are you? Are you excited? My picks for tomorrow, obviously for the AFC NFC Championship game, are going to be in there. You guys played great. He said, what's up? Debo and Jimmy, that like button, y'all. Gang, gang, gang. Sarah Small, bang, 99 cents. Thank you so much. And obviously for the haters, earlier in the room, if you're going to say that I don't care, about 99 cents or $1, Sarah Small does a lot more than a lot of people in the room. You know what I mean? There's, heavy hitters like Holly Hundo and, Nate the Great, Odin's son, Odin's child, Shepard, and obviously Cyberpunk 53. Sarah does what she can, but she also, tweets out, and retweets, when my, shows go on, supports. She ended up becoming a mod this year for the support that she does. So for anyone to say that I don't care, about 99 cents or $1 is completely incorrect. You know what I mean? For someone that puts in the hard work and the effort and the energy, there's a reason why, like Young Nola and certain people, Justin Wills got banned, and I might be able to bring them back, at some point, you know what I mean? But I just want to make sure that the chat is a place where, we can all have a good time. I don't like those negative vibes. I'm already going through depression and anxiety. I don't want to be losing potential new subs, if the chat is fucking a toxic place. So Sarah is definitely an all-star. If anyone's going to talk shit about my mods or, make it uncomfortable in the room, I don't have a problem of giving you a timeout or giving you a boot temporarily. And depending on how you treat me and the other people, maybe you'll be able to earn your way back, into the room. But if the same behavior continues, I'm not going to put up with it. The mods are not going to put up with it. And Sarah is actually one of the great supporters of the channel, and I'm proud to have her, a part of the NWSF family. She is one of the low-key, really big supporters of the channel. She has been for quite some time, and I appreciate you. So for anyone to think that that shit does not matter or I don't care about certain people, I'm just appreciative of the people that have the opportunity and the funds to donate big. I was talking to Nate the Great a couple days ago, and he was talking to me about his situation, obviously not being able to spend as much time, with his girlfriend. Did you guys know, when he was dropping the 100, 200, $300, $500 donos, I mean, he was doing like Holly Hundo numbers. Do you know how hard of a worker? This guy works at Denny's, right? And you don't think people at Denny's maybe make a whole lot of money or whatever. He's a manager there in Arizona, right? He works 16-hour days. So that kind of makes sense with some of the donations that he was able to do for me. I mean, he donated, I think, like $1,500 or $1,600 in about a week and a half period over about a 3 to 5 game set, of all the games, the Natty and the Broncos and the Chiefs at the end of the year and some of the playoff games. And then he did the $500 donation about a week and a half ago. That's the biggest single donation that I've ever gotten, even higher than Holly Hundo, right? He works 16-hour days, I think, 5 to 6 days a week. It's like 80 hours a week. A lot of us, only do 40 hours, you know what I mean? And obviously I think with the girlfriend putting pressure on him, wanting to spend more time or maybe not understanding. And I told him, you know what I mean? Like some people don't understand the hard work that what you're doing. And I told him, if you're paying for a lot of the stuff for her too, and you're trying to show that you care and spend time, but you're grinding, you know what I mean? And you're working really hard. Most people don't put in I can't even imagine doing 16-hour days, let alone doing 16-hour days back to back to back to back and doing them 5 straight days in a row. You know what I mean? So there's certain people that have the work ethic and have the love and the respect for the NWSF, but not everyone is going to be in the same situation. But let's give a salute to Nate the Great, Sarah Small, and all the people that support your boy. I mean, everyone's situation is different. A lot of us go through, tough times. I told Nate the Great, even before the big donos came, I told him, start a Twitter. You know what I mean? Join the community. You'll be able to meet some great people. He talks to me pretty frequently. And when you have a relationship with the fans, it's nice. I talk to Sarah Small probably every day, Nate the Great, Odin's son, Odin's child, Holly Hundo. There's a lot of us that communicate, and it's cool to be able to have that bond and that friendship. It's more than just, being a fan of your favorite channel on YouTube. I think a lot of people out there, they don't have the same kind of relationship that I have with the fans. Sometimes, they just, they'll shout them out with the donations, but that's where it stops. With me, you know what I mean? I really try to have a relationship with a lot of the people. If you hit me up on like Twitter or Instagram, it's one of those things depending on who you are and the situation that you're in. I mean, I'll never forget you. And it's cool to be able to build that friendship and build that bond because it's more than just, being a fan of someone. It's really become friendship with a lot of the people on the channel. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. I love you. I appreciate you very, very much. Sarah Small in the building. Appreciate you and all the hard work that you put in. $53 in donos. Let's get to 100 dono. Absolutely. Let's do it. Ken Griffey Jr., one of my all-time favorites. I love him. Loyal Rammy in the building. I'm here, Ryan. Yes, the Rams are winning the Lombardi. Flexes. We'll see. We'll see. You got to get past the Niners first. Playoff Vaughn is here. Jimmy's about to get eaten alive. You're 0-6, though. And, to say Sean McVay is not afraid of Kyle Shanahan or he's not in his head, yeah, you end up having a team now that seems like they can go all the way. But you might not even get past the Niners. I mean, if any year was the year to get past them, it's this year. You're 0-2. Year before, 0-2. Year before that, 0-2. You had Goff. Now you have Stafford, but you've already lost twice this year. What makes you think that you're going to actually win it this year? Being at home? Stafford's hot at this point. I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking that the Niners, even though they are an underdog like the Bengals, anything could happen. And I think the Niners probably have a better chance beating the Rams than the Bengals beating the Chiefs. But I wouldn't be really surprised of any scenario of teams coming out on top. So I know you've been a longtime fan of the Rams. All right. And I'll be honest, I'm not rooting for you guys. You guys beat Tampa Bay. I'm not rooting for you. All right. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. If the Chiefs get there, that would be the team that I'm rooting for. All right. I want Patrick Mahomes' legacy to go to that next step and that next level. But, we'll see what happens with your team. You still got to get past the Niners. And if you get past them, that'll be 1-7 or 1-6. Because in the last 6 opportunities you guys have lost, then you win, you'll be 1-6. But there is no guarantee that you beat the Bengals. I mean, if it ends up being Rams, Bengals, Rams will be heavily favored. But if it ends up being Rams and Chiefs, I think Chiefs will be favored. But anything can happen on any given Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And you have a home game and the NFC Championship game, which obviously you guys are limiting the Niner fans, which is kind of bullshit. All right, because obviously it's a lot of red in there, you guys are limiting that. And you have a home game in the Super Bowl. So we'll see if you guys can do the Tampa Bay thing that we did last year. But I'm not rooting for you guys. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? I'm not rooting for LA. All right. You guys have gone a while without a Super Bowl, but I'd rather have the Chiefs win. That's my personal opinion. And I'd rather have the Niners beat you. So that's just my opinion on who I want to win. Everyone's got their opinion on who they like, but that's what I'm going for at this point. So I'd be happy if Mahomes started building a GOAT legacy, or he already is. He already has. Beefy McWhat now in the building. What to do? Said, I think it'll be the Rams and Chiefs. Well, that's what the easy way, to be able to predict. But I'm still thinking, how are you going to beat the 49ers? You guys are a finesse team. They're a physical power team. And you obviously fold every time you play them. 6 times in a row. That's not by coincidence. I mean, if it was 3-3, it's one thing. All right. But it's fucking 0-6. So it shows you Kyle Shanahan is a better coach than Sean McVay. He's got Jimmy Garoppolo. You got fucking Matthew Stafford. I mean, that's not even close based off the talent level. Okay. Just being honest, you know what I mean? But the way that they run with Elijah Mitchell, the way they run with Debo, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are the 2 brightest coaches as far as being young coaches. But Kyle Shanahan is on another level than Sean McVay, in my personal opinion, because he does more with less. Yeah, you can do a lot with what you have. Look at your fucking all-star team that you have. Of course you should win. Of course you should be able to do big things. Look at your fucking roster. You're like Tampa Bay from last year. You got all the pieces. But I got to see you be able to beat the Niners, and I'm not sure if you guys can. Zini Panini. Hey, Orion, how are you? Zini Panini in the building. Orion is the best for reals, hands down. I was telling the story about you earlier. I don't know if you were in the room earlier, but I was talking about, me and a prayer man, doing something nice, for you, with the hard situation that you've been in. And I hope that you're doing a little bit better. My anxiety and my depression has been at an all-time high. And normally people don't talk about that, but I'm trying to do the best that I can. Then you decided to give a gift to your mom with the money that we sent you. We wanted you to get like a Eagles, jersey or a shirt or hat or something. But, you're selfless like me, and you decided to get something for your mom, which I believe you told me that was a Broncos fan. Then I had to end up sending you another little special gift, because I want you to get something for yourself. You deserve it. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's booze, to kind of make things better for yourself. You know what I mean? With either beer or whatever it is. I got the pineapple beer here with the Modelo here in my hand, which I need to actually start drinking a little bit more. We've been online now for about an hour and 42 minutes, but I will always go all out for my friends, and I will always go out for the people that support me. If you donate to me big, I mean, we have a good relationship, or if you donate what you can, you know what I mean? And you smash the like button, you donate to your boy when you can, and you show that love to me, I'm going to give it to you right back, sometimes even more. And like I said, hopefully you'll end up, getting something special for yourself. And I will always take care of the people that take care of me. Period. You know what I mean? If you show that appreciation from the hard work that I do, I definitely will show it 1,000% back. And like I said, I love you and appreciate you. You're one of my favorites on the channel overall. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are on the channel. There's some females that are on the channel, and the female presence is nice. You got Brittany, obviously, who's the Pats fan that she hops in when she can. But Zini Panini, Eagles fan, is always in the building when she can. All right, Sarah Small, Colts, always in the building. Zini Panini, Eagles, and Holly Hundo, Chiefs. I mean, it's nice to be able to have that female representation on the channel. I appreciate you. I love you. And, hopefully I didn't make you cry. I probably did a couple times, with just, me trying to show some love back with the situation that you're in. But like I said, I love you and I appreciate you very, very much. So for my mom's sake, I hope her Bengals get there. Oh, it was Bengals. I knew it was Bengals or Denver. I was trying to remember what her favorite team was. So you got her some Bengals merch. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get past Kansas City. But again, the Niners and Kansas City beat both teams this year. The Niners beat the Rams, twice this year. And obviously the Bengals beat the Chiefs towards the end of the year as well. But the most favored matchup is going to be Chiefs-Rams. That's a given, right? And then obviously the least likely matchup is going to be the Bengals and the Niners. So we'll have to see on where it goes, but I'm definitely rooting for the Chiefs to take it all the way. Yeah, I mean, like I said, and I always worry about people, and I always want to make sure that I check up on the people that take care of me the most. Zini Panini, I love you, and I appreciate you very, very much. Cyberpunk 53, hard to believe we only have 3 games left in the season. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I mean, Pro Bowl doesn't count. We'll be going into draft coverage. I'll be doing college football, NFL. I'll be doing some, AEW, probably some NBA and MLB. I'll be continuing to do NFL shows, throughout the whole year. So it's not like something I'm just going to stop doing NFL and college football coverage. But it's been an amazing year. A lot of unpredictability. I think this season has been the hardest to bet on and predict. That's what makes it fun. I mean, as long as you're not losing big money on a lot of the games. But Eagles John, all right? Obviously, all the Johns in Philadelphia. I know what that's all about, all right? The Niners are the Rams' Achilles. It is. But the talent that the Rams have, and if you look at the Rams on how they beat the brakes off the Cardinals and the Bucks, I mean, who's to say that this time, the 7th time, all right, might be the charm. They're 0-6. But they look like a team that's made for destiny. They look like a team like Tampa Bay from last year. They have a home game and another home game, NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, even though I think the Chiefs are the best team and they're going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously the team that's after the Chiefs has got to be the Rams. And then after that, probably the Niners and Bengals are a toss-up at 3 and 4. But I got to see them be able to get past the Niners first. I got to be able to see them do that first. But we're not going to get that matchup. We're going to get the Bengals and Chiefs first, even though I wanted the Niners and Rams to be the first game and then save the best for last, the Bengals and the Chiefs. But we're going to do it flip-flop. We're going to do the Bengals Chiefs first, and then we'll do the Niners and the Rams. But it wouldn't surprise me in any scenario that we get. So Zini Panini going through the emotions. I am too. Said I'm always crying anymore. You got her merch today. She loves it. She cried when I told her where it really came from. That's awesome. I don't know if she knows who I am or the relationship that you have, but there's a lot of people out there that have YouTube channels or they do podcasts, and a lot of people are trying to do what I'm doing, or Sports Fury or Grossi. But you have to realize how long I've been doing it. I mean, I've been recording for 10 years, 6 years on YouTube, 100,000 hours of grinding, lots of film study. But the thing that I'm proud about the most is the relationships that I built, over the last 6 years with people like you. You know what I mean? And like I said, to even bring up addiction, things in the past, and, addiction, depression, anxiety, just the tough things that we go through. The community that we have here is great. I know we're going to keep growing and growing and growing. But like I said, when I care about someone, I mean, I've helped a lot of people, in the last month. I've helped out you, Marco Spinetta, with his broken ankle. I helped send money to Will the Thrill in Scotland so his power wouldn't go out. I know he's gone through some depression shit as well. If I can do something, for the fans that take care of me, I'm definitely going to be able to do that for you. I love you, and I appreciate you very, very much. Hey, you know what I mean? When you have a good relationship with, the fans, it goes a long, long ways. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Loyal Rammies, I think OBJ wasn't fully integrated. Von Miller wasn't fully knowing about the Rams defense. Even so, the Rams were up 17-0. Without that integration, Woods got hurt at the last moment of the game. Yeah, and obviously we've seen how great OBJ is and Von Miller. They are key pieces that could get you guys to a Super Bowl and win. Without those guys, it would be a lot harder to get there. But like I said, that you got to get past the Niners first. Whether you guys want to admit it or not, they do have your number. They've beaten you the last 6 times, twice this year. So you can't ignore that. It's not like a 3-3. It's 0-6. So Kyle Shanahan has your number, and they're a power team. You're a finesse team. So I'm really excited to see on how the game plays out. Niners could beat you guys again and get to the Super Bowl as that underdog, or you guys will finally get past and climb the mountain and get past Shanahan, and you might be able to go all the way, even though I like Kansas City as my favorite team at this point. Loyal Rammy says 0-6 doesn't matter, bro. I disagree. How different is the two rosters from 2 years ago, even a year ago? Okay, so if you want to take out those games, Loyal Rammy, you're 0-4. What about this year? You're 0-2. What's the excuse now? Why couldn't you beat them this year? And even when you're up 17-0, you know what I mean? There is no excuse. Kyle Shanahan has less to work with, and he's smarter than Sean McVay. You guys have a superstar Pro Bowl team. The Niners have a few Pro Bowlers, but they do more with less. I think that's pretty easy to see. You know what I mean? There is no reason for the Niners even to be in the playoffs, let alone this far along. I mean, your team on paper and what you guys have out there is an all-star team. The Niners don't have the same type of talent. All right? That's facts. All right? So 0-6 doesn't matter. I disagree. I think Kyle Shanahan is in Sean McVay's head. You guys might be able to get past him now, but 0-6 doesn't look good on paper. I don't care what you say. That does not look good. All right? But you are a finesse team. They are a power team. And you guys haven't proven that you can beat a team that has power football intentions. So once you guys beat the power football team like the Niners, then we can maybe have a different, conversation. But even if you guys beat the Niners, there's no guarantee you beat the Chiefs, because I think that they're going to beat the Bengals, and I think the Chiefs are the better team overall. So that's just my personal feeling about it. But like I said, everyone's got their own opinion. But to say 0-6 doesn't matter, I disagree. You know what I mean? You can say that now and just assume that you're going to go out there and you're going to play the Cardinals and the Buccaneers and you're going to do the same thing to the Niners, and they're not that good. But you got to prove it. You got to go out there and prove it. And who would have thought that those two teams would have made it? I think a lot of people picked the Rams to get there, but I don't think anyone picked the Niners. And it shows you anything can happen on any given Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the Niners win for Bob Saget. You never know. So I already told you how important the Robert Woods and the Rams scheme. Of course, he's the best wide receiver blocker in the NFL. Of course. You think I'm fucking stupid, Loyal Rammy? I know you're an old school guy like me, but I'm not fucking stupid. I said that a long time ago. Robert Woods has been one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Would Tyler get to the door and lock it in Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp finally got Matthew Stafford and has broke out as a legitimate stud and one of the top 10 wide receivers in the game. But we know that. But OBJ has played great. Let's not get it twisted. It's not like there's been a huge drop-off. I think Robert Woods overall is better than OBJ with everything that he does. He's a better blocker as well. All right. But there's no guarantee. I mean, you're just hoping that they can come out there and do a great job. All right. But I'm not fucking stupid. All right. You say, wasn't the Bucs a power team? No. Not even close, bro. Especially with our offensive line, we're not a power team. We throw the football a lot more than we run the ball. When we run the football effectively, all right, when we didn't have Rojo, we didn't have fucking, and Rojo's more of a finesse back. He's not a power back. Leonard Fournette is a kind of a combination of a power and finesse guy, all right? But when the offensive line is banged up, we've never been considered a power team. The last time we've been considered a power team is when we had Mike Allstott and maybe Warwick Dunn, or Mike Allstott and a Michael Pittman back, when we had Gruden in 2002. We haven't been considered a power team for a long, long fucking time, all right? Chiefs gone chief in the building. What to do? How are you, man? I need to start drinking some more beer. I love conversations with the fans. All right. I love you and I appreciate you very, very much. Loyal Rammy. I'll be honest, man. I ain't rooting for you. I hope you guys lose to the Niners. And if you guys beat the Niners, I hope you guys lose in the Super Bowl. All right. I hope you guys lose to the Chiefs. I ain't rooting for you guys one bit. Everyone's got their favorites. Everyone's got it. You guys are going to be good for a long, long time. All right. As long as Matthew Stafford's there with Sean McVay, this is not going to be the last time you're in the NFC Championship game. I would assume you guys will be going to many, many playoffs, many, many NFC Championship games. This is not going to be the last one of, the Rams and the Rams fan base. You guys are going to go to a lot. All right. But for this year, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to be honest, man. I ain't rooting for you guys. You guys beat the Buccaneers. You guys beat the Cardinals. All right. But I'm definitely rooting for the Chiefs to go all the way. I want Mahomes' legacy. Now, do I think Stafford deserves a ring? Of course. For his legacy and Sean McVay, to be like considered Hall of Fame, you're going to need to be able to get that. Obviously we know Aaron Donald is the best defensive player. You got obviously Jalen Ramsey. You got Von Miller. You guys got so many great players on both sides of the football. That's facts, but to get that Super Bowl ring, obviously that's going to put you guys on a whole nother level. Obviously we know Aaron Donald needs that Super Bowl, win to say, I got all these records, all these Pro Bowls. He's arguably maybe the best defensive player of all time. If you look at all the stats and all the accolades that he's been able to pile up, Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in the game. I know there's a lot of people that might disagree, but I think he's the most athletic. If I could choose one corner in the NFL, it's him. You know what I mean? So even though I don't like the Rams, I can give credit where credit's due. I like Cam Akers. I like Robert Woods. I like Cooper Kupp. I like those guys for a long fucking time. Stafford didn't really have a lot, to work with in Detroit besides Megatron. Now he finally found a great fit. That's a big upgrade from Jared Goff. But I'm just not rooting for you guys. You know what I mean? If the Niners beat you, I'll be happy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it one bit. If the Chiefs win and beat you, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? You guys are going to have plenty of time to get there. But it's just like the Buccaneers. You don't like us. We don't like you. There's a lot of teams, with Seattle and the Cardinals and the Niners. They don't like you either. All right? Let's just be honest. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people are rooting for the Rams besides the Rams fan base. I mean, we know you guys got that all-star team out there. You guys have the Super Bowl at home. But, you guys can get it done. You guys are good enough talent-wise to raise the Lombardi, and you guys may do that. But I'm not rooting for you. That's facts. Chiefs gone chief. What to do? Andrew Whitworth is a stud. That's a Hall of Fame player, too, on the offensive line. He got banged up. Why do you hate the Rams? It's why do you guys not like the Buccaneers? Why do you not like the Cardinals? Why do you not like the Seahawks or the Niners? Everyone's got teams that they just don't like. You know what I mean? I don't have to like the team. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their teams and their players. You know what I mean? I like all 32 teams. I cover all 32. You know what I mean? But there's just certain teams for legacy-wise. Obviously Mahomes and Stafford would probably benefit the most. Obviously Kyle Shanahan's legacy would be big too, to be able to get that Super Bowl finally. And I know McVay and the Niners and Shanahan will get you. You guys will get yours. Joe Burrow might end up getting a Super Bowl before his career is over. Mahomes already got one. All right. You know what I'm saying? But, it's just everyone's got their particular, favorites on who they like. There's a lot of players on the Rams that are fantastic, that I like, but I'm not rooting for the Rams to win. I would rather have the Niners win, personally. I was a Niner kid growing up. You know what I mean? I like that team a lot more with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, but they just didn't have the defensive players, for me to claim them as my team. When they won in 94, I was like, you know what? That might be the last time that they actually get there and win after the Steve Young getting the monkey off his back. You know what I mean? The Rams are good. They've been building a great piece, but like I said, there's a reason why the Saints and the Buccaneers don't like each other. There's a reason why the Rams and the Saints hate each other. It's just not going to, it's not going to ever end. You know what I mean? There's just certain teams and certain players. Now, I might not like the Rams overall, all right? But there's a lot of players that I really respect and like that I would love on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers from your team. You know what I mean? It's just, everyone's got their favorites. Let's just be honest. You know what I mean? But I don't think there's a lot of fans that are rooting for the Rams besides the Rams. I think there's a lot of people around America that are rooting for the Niners that are non-Niner fans. There's a lot of people that are rooting for the Chiefs and the Bengals that are non-Chiefs and Bengals fans. You know what I mean? But maybe that's what you guys need to do. Maybe you guys need to be that hated team to be able to overcome and be number one. But I'm just telling you the perception around the NFL, not a lot of people are rooting for the Rams. You know what I mean? You guys are trying to buy yourself a ring. You know what I mean? You guys are trying to do the whole like Kevin Durant, LeBron thing. You know what I mean? We did some of that as well last year. We got Tom, got Gronk. You know what I mean? But I think with the Buccaneers, we were a little bit more likable than the Rams, personally. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't like the Patriots and they don't like Tom. But I think the Buccaneers are a little bit easier to follow and watch last season and even this year. A lot of people wanted the Bucs to lose and wanted Tom to lose. I get it. But I'm just giving you the perception across the league. They got a great team. The Rams could hoist the Lombardi. But if I'm going for one single team, the Rams are going to be the fourth that I would be rooting for out of the four teams left. It would be probably Chiefs number one, and then probably Niners 2, Bengals 3, Rams 4. If I was going to be, going based off at least this year. I already know you guys are going to get your Super Bowl sooner than later. The Niners will probably end up getting theirs at some point as well. Bengals, I'm not sure if you're good enough with that offensive line. You got to really improve that. And the Chiefs, they are the new New England Patriots. They're going to be good for a very, very long time, and they're going to be stacking chips and stacking championships. So we'll see if we end up getting Chiefs and Rams, or if we're going to get up, Chiefs and Niners. But bottom line, I think the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. So we'll have to wait and see. Hey, haters going to hate. You know what I mean? That's true. Haters going to hate. We'll just keep on winning. Touchdown, Bills. But there's just, certain teams that are more likable. I honestly think that if you guys would have stayed in St. Louis, the fans would be more on your side. Moving to LA, obviously you have nothing to do with that. But to leave St. Louis was tough. I think that a lot of the fans would still be on board with the Rams if you guys never left. but that's out of your control. It's out of the ownership control. Obviously everything, it's all above us, as fans, right? And the same thing goes with the Chargers leaving San Diego. That left a bad taste in my mouth for the Rams and the Chargers. You know what I mean? It's just, I get it. You got to go to a bigger market. You know what I mean? But fuck LA sometimes. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I live here in Oregon. I'm not too far away. I'm close enough to be able to visit those places, but I would have rather had the Rams stay in St. Louis for that legacy, and I would rather have the Chargers stay in San Diego. Fuck LA. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Why do they got to have teams there? Why can't we have St. Louis be appreciated in San Diego? You know what I mean? I know it's money, the stadium, and there's a lot of factors involved, but that's just kind of how I feel. So I'm going to say I'm going to find out who I'm with in both games somewhere in the second half. Eagles, John. Said to leave LA was tough. I experienced both. Yeah, I know. And then obviously with like the Raiders, from LA, the Los Angeles Raiders to Oakland, now Vegas. It's just, I don't know. I just like the OGs. You know what I mean? I just like it when teams, can stay and build that heritage and build that championship, pedigree for where they're supposed to be, not going where the money is, where they can build the stadiums. Because obviously, as you know, with Rams fans, all right, let's be honest. All right. When you saw a lot of the home games in LA, a lot of people didn't show up. Like you see like certain games like at USC, and you see certain games like for the Rams the last couple of years, they didn't sell out. You know what I mean? There was a lot of road fans that were there, like Niner fans that were there. It just seemed weird. If the Rams were so loved, in LA, instead of these bandwagon fans coming out, because obviously you guys are great and you're going to get bandwagon fans of any team that's great, but it just like, you didn't really fill the stadium up. You know what I mean? So it's like the Rams are in LA, but I don't know if it really, a lot of people cared. You know what I mean? Like when you would look and pan into the crowd, you didn't really see the stadium filled. It was just weird to me. You know what I mean? But if they were in St. Louis, it would have been filled up, right? And the Chargers, you see them in LA. Where are the people? You know what I mean? Do they even care? They're on their phones. It's like they're too hipster for me. You know what I mean? It's like you got the Lakers and you got the Dodgers. The Dodgers are my dad's team. And obviously we've been following them since they were the Brooklyn Dodgers, in the 50s. And obviously that fan base is a little bit more loyal, with the Dodgers. But as far as like the Lakers, lots of bandwagon. Obviously now you're starting to see with the Chargers and the Rams, a lot of bandwagon, but a lot of loyal people that have been there like you for years and years and years and years and years. It's just weird to me. It just leaves a weird taste in my mouth when I see the teams move. It's out of our control. Seeing the Seattle Supersonics go to Oklahoma City Thunder, that fucking hurt. You know what I mean? Like the I-5 rivalry with the Blazers and Sonics, I miss that. And we might get that back, but I just hate it when I see teams that should be in a city where they started or they have a history there, and then they just dip and they go to like a big place like LA. I just fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. If you're already in LA, like the Dodgers or the Lakers, that's fine. But the Rams and the Chargers, I cannot forgive that. I just, it gets to my nerves a little bit, but it is what it is. Some people agree with me. Maybe some people don't. Said Josh Allen got the Patrick Price. Yes, he did. Said truth on that. Those towns deserve teams no less than LA for show. I mean, I just think that the energy and when I think about St. Louis and the Rams, I would, be rooting for them more if they were there. You know what I mean? With just the Isaac Bruce and the Torrey Holt and the Kurt Warner, just the greats that, even before that, with Jim Everett and Flipper Anderson. And, obviously they've gone back and forth, Los Angeles and St. Louis, they've bounced around. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it that these teams bounce around, but the St. Louis connection, you know what I mean? I just miss it. I don't know what it is. I just miss that city, representing football. You got the St. Louis Cardinals there, you know what I mean? And then they bounced around back and forth. I get it, but everyone's got their own, feeling about it. But I just miss San Diego Charger football, and I miss St. Louis Rams football. I just miss it. So I know. So LA had no team for a whole generation. You're doing a stereotype about fans in LA. So winning a Super Bowl will create new fans for the Rams for a generation. And Rams came to LA in 1950, bro. I know that they were there, all right, but I just like the Rams in St. Louis. It's just how I feel. I mean, that's just how I feel. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their opinion. They bounced around from one place to another. Everyone's got memories from watching their football team. But like I said, some people are going to be rooting for certain teams. Some people are not. But St. Louis was, I don't know. I just miss it there. I just miss the football there. And I know with Flipper Anderson, Jim Everett, and things have changed over the years from going one city, going to this city, and then moving back to the city. But I don't know. There's a lot of bandwagon people in LA. I mean, like I said, even Dodger fans as well. You know what I mean? There's just like when teams are winning, the bandwagon comes out, and that's for any sport. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Niners and the Rams, and we'll see what happens, obviously, with the Chiefs and the Bengals. Tyreek, minute 4 left. Touchdown, Chiefs. So we were talking earlier about all the different matchups, obviously going in, to the weekend. And we'll just go back and we'll start it off. So we talked about, Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton obviously deciding to walk away. Dennis Allen was rumored to walk away. And Sean Payton was like, you know what? I think I got a call from Jerry Jones, but I'm not going to go coach the Cowboys just yet. So what am I going to end up doing? I'm going to end up probably just taking a year off. Maybe I'll go to TV. And I assume that eventually he'll go to the Cowboys. There's $70 million over the cap. Jameis Winston, he might not even be there. Taysom Hill, 4 years, $40 million, then they dipped. The Saints are definitely not in a situation right now that looks great for them. But we'll wait and see on how things kind of play out, for their particular roster. Sean Payton, is a guy that could lead the Cowboys to the promised land. You at least think so, if he's committed to that team. But, you got to get rid of Mike McCarthy. You got to get rid of Kellen Moore. I thought that was really bad. Dan Quinn, obviously we know he's staying for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so that's at least good for the defensive side, but they still have no fucking discipline. Penalties is what killed them. Everyone wants to put the blame on Dak. You got to put the blame on Dan Quinn and really getting those players, focused at the right time. Because if they would have been disciplined on defense, they would have beaten the 49ers at home, but they couldn't get it done. The Niners were hot, just like the Bengals. The two hottest teams, I feel, going in to the playoffs. We'll see how long Uncle Mo is on their side. But for now, Dan Quinn will be the defensive coordinator there. Sean Payton is gone. He's not coming back to the Saints. Rumored that Dennis Allen would be gone, the defensive coordinator. He might be the new head coach. They better pray that he doesn't leave as well. And then we got the news today. Nathaniel Hackett is the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. You knew that was going to happen because they're trying to lure over Aaron Rodgers. All right, so Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Davante Adams will probably get the franchise tag. I could see Davante Adams playing with the Raiders with his college quarterback from Fresno State, right? Derek Carr, all right? David Carr, his brother, he's on NFL Network. He had a horrible time in Houston. Derek is much better. We will see if Davante Adams tries to follow up because they got a lot of money. I think they got like $50 million. They're not over the cap, $70 million like the Saints. They got money to work with in Denver. And they got Noah Fant. They got Cortland Sutton. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got, Javonte. They got a lot of guys at running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense. They don't got Von Miller anymore. He's on the Rams. You got Bradley Chubb, but he can't stay really healthy. Patrick Surtain is nice. All right, so we'll see what happens there. But I like the hire for Denver to try to lure over Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if it ends up happening or if Aaron decides to retire or go somewhere like maybe Pittsburgh, okay? Speaking of Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger decided to retire officially, okay? So at the end of an era, no more Ben Roethlisberger, no more Eli Manning, no more Phillip Rivers. What a great career. 2 Super Bowls for him, 2 Super Bowls for Eli. There will be an opening there. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh would be exciting, as well as Denver with Nathaniel Hackett. We will have to wait and see where it goes. And then Sarah Smalls, defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, decided to take the head coaching job of the Chicago Bears, all right? Obviously, they were great when they had Vic Fangio. All right, but with Vic Fangio, all right, once he left to go to Denver, the Bears defense was never the same. So we will see if, Eberflus he's been a top 10 defensive coordinator for a long time. He's been, be able to get the most out of Darius Leonard, Kwity Paye this year, DeForest Buckner. They got a good roster there. So we'll see if the Chicago Bears, can get there. But obviously it'll help because if Aaron Rodgers is gone, it should be a good opportunity for the Bears and the Vikings to take over that division because I don't think the Packers are going to win the division anymore. If they have Jordan Love, I don't know if that's going to be good enough. That's like a 500 team, right? But with the Bears, with this coach, Matt Eberflus, right? Or with the Vikings, depending on what they do with Kirk Cousins, if he's the guy or not, the Vikings and the Bears could take over the Packers and the NFC North, especially if Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are both gone or if Aaron Rodgers is gone. We'll see if this is a good hire or if this is a good hire with Nathaniel Hackett or Matt Eberflus. But I think at this point, the team's got to be excited. The Chicago Bears, right? The Denver Broncos, getting their guys as well, especially Dan Quinn staying for the Cowboys. You got to get rid of Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy. Got to get rid of them. But I don't know they won't. I think McCarthy's staying for the time being until they can get Jerry Jones to convince this guy, maybe next year, not this year coming up, but the following year to be the head coach. And we'll see what happens with the Saints. And obviously there's $70 million over the cap problems. Maybe this guy, Dennis Allen, will stay. Maybe he'll go as well. Because if you lose this guy and you lose Sean Payton and you're $70 million over the cap, I don't know what to say for the Saints fans. Like I said, you thought everything was going to be easy breezy, lemon squeezy after Drew Brees in that era, but now things are starting to kind of fall apart. But I think that the Saints got a great running back, Great offensive line, great defense. They just need to get some leadership in the right spots. And if they can get that, they'll still be very competitive. And that's big facts. I know the Rams were in LA. They were in LA for a long time. Flipper Anderson, Jim Everett. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just the LA fans, man. I mean, I seen them with all the different sports. I don't know. Just some LA fans are very good. You know what I mean? Some of them are bandwagon. There's going to be bandwagon fans everywhere. If you're winning, there's going to be bandwagon fans everywhere. So remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so many bandwagon fans following the year were confused because we did poorly. That's how you knew you watched. Yeah. Yeah. And that happens. Once a team wins the Super Bowl, you'll get people hopping on. And, usually once you win a Super Bowl, there's usually a dramatic drop off. Usually you don't go to the playoffs. You go back in the day when they had 16 games, like you'd go win the Super Bowl and then you go 7-9. You know what I mean? And you don't go. And they're like, what happened? Well, not everyone can be Kansas City Chiefs or the New England Patriots. So, yeah, I get it. So it was like, yeah, you must be new here kind of conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Dougie P. Destination. I know he's been getting some looks. Ooh, nice touchdown, baby. Gabriel Davis. God, Josh Allen is good. Threading the fucking needle. Oh, gosh. Just this play right here, the 35-33, 13 seconds left. Normally you need like a minute or more, right, to be able to come back. But that guy, all right, the Grim Reaper, all right, when things get grim, be the Grim Reaper, Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if anyone else could have did what Patrick Mahomes did besides maybe Josh Allen. I mean, to be able to have the confidence to go to Tyreek, Kelsey, kick the field goal, win it in overtime. They do need to change the overtime rules, though. I want both offenses to get the ball. But Josh Allen is really, really getting better. They need to get a running back, though. I'm telling you, once they get their running back, they will be able to get past the Chiefs, and they will be able to win a Super Bowl. But until then, it's not going to happen. They need to keep beefing up that defense as well. Offensive line needs some work as well, but they need their Josh Jacobs. They need their stud, their Jonathan Taylor, their Nick Chubb. Once the Bills get that guy, I see the Bills, doing big things. But for now, the Chiefs are the kryptonite for the Buffalo Bills. It's facts. But I don't know. I don't really know where Dougie P would be, worked at. Is he going to be a head coach? Is he going to be a coordinator? I mean, what position is Dougie P going to be? I would assume head coach. He's not going to be a guy that necessarily I think is going to be calling plays. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of openings still, but I don't really know where he would fit, to be honest. I'm not really sure, because obviously we've seen what he did with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, and, he's been out of work for a little bit. I don't really know. Normally I have a kind of an answer and an opinion almost about everything, but with Dougie P, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Why not Rodgers in Indy? I mean, you do got Jonathan Taylor there. You got a great defense there as well. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess that could be a possibility. I don't know. No one's really talking about your team and getting him. But, I mean, that would be somewhere where he could win. Pittsburgh, they got some good weapons there on offense and defense. Same thing with Denver. But I guess if you're going with the familiarity factor, Nathaniel Hackett being the OC, he knows him. So Denver's got to be definitely the front runner unless he decides to retire. But I don't think he's coming back to Green Bay. I think the Green Bay era is over for Aaron Rodgers, and he really hasn't had a whole lot of success there. He only has one Super Bowl. It's like 7 wins, 7 losses at home. That's not good. It's the worst percentage at home, I believe, for a starting quarterback in the last, 20 years. Not a good look. You know what I mean? A lot of it wasn't his fault, but for everyone to say that the special teams and the run defense, I mean, the defense did a pretty good job, but the special teams was absolutely horrible with Mason Crosby and at the end of the game with the block punt and whatnot. Got to give credit to the Niners, but it's not like Aaron threw up a lot of stats. You know what I mean? If you're in the big game in the divisional at home, number 1 seed. I think it shows you with the Titans and the Packers with the number 1 seed, having a week off sometimes is not good for the football team. To have that chemistry and that continuity, sometimes to keep playing and keeping on that repetition and that routine is better, because I think the Titans got laxed and the Packers got laxed. I think they both thought they were going to win easily and they got smacked in the mouth and they both lost. So, maybe being a number 1 seed is overrated. Maybe having home field advantage is overrated. But maybe it's normally a good thing, but this year is just one of those weird years. Because, I mean, I've never seen a year where we've had as many upsets than this year. I mean, I've been watching football like Loyal Rammy for a long time. He's been watching probably longer than me because he's older than me. All right. I've been watching since 85. I'm 39. So I started watching like at 3 years old. All right. I know he's a little bit older. So a lot of people that are older 35 to 65 years old. I mean, we've got the experience of watching a lot of film and a lot of football. But it's just a weird year. I think a lot of people lost a lot of money this year, and the unpredictability factor is normally very high in the NFL, but I think on this year it's even higher than we've ever seen, and it might continue that trend moving forward. Chiefs gone chief, ready to the game Sunday. First team to ever host 4 straight AFC championship games. Wild to believe. And then obviously Andy Reid did it 4 times in a row with the Philadelphia Eagles. The only coach to ever do that with the Eagles and the Chiefs and in the NFC and the AFC. Fantastic coach. Eric Bieniemy's on point. You guys are starting to run the football when you need to. Defense looks good. It's very exciting to be able to see how it happens. Say, yep, Chiefs. I got the Red Kingdom. Chiefs Kingdom. Can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be very, very exciting. I was supposed to be drinking a lot of beer, and I've definitely been slacking because I've been talking to you guys, which I don't mind. I like to be able to hang out with y'all. Still watching the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's kind of a good therapy session for your boy. Having the depression and having the anxiety is not fun, but hanging out with you guys is always fun. It's always fun. Dougie P to Jacksonville. I don't think anyone that goes to Jacksonville, you're almost fucked. You know what I mean? It's like going to the Detroit Lions, going to Jacksonville, going to these bad teams. I always root for the bad teams, Jacksonville. It was Cincinnati for a long time, the Buccaneers, until we both have turned it around. But Detroit is the one that I really root for the most. I want them to be a winner. You know what I mean? I don't know if Dan Campbell biting off kneecaps is going to work. You know what I mean? You need a better quarterback than Jared Goff. It's just like you need to be able to change history. And at some point, I know Detroit will be good. And they will be going to the playoffs, but I don't know when it's going to happen in my lifetime. I just want to be able to see. And it's not like Jacksonville has been bad forever. I mean, just a few years ago, we saw with Blaine Gabbert and some of the pieces that they had with Fournette and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, they were almost at the Super Bowl, AFC championship game against the Pats. Remember that? They almost did it. They were in the game for 3 quarters, and the 4th quarter came around, and they just got fucking smacked. But, Calais Campbell and the rest of them. I mean, they had a lot of Bouye. I mean, they had a really good football team. Jacksonville just a few years ago, but that's like almost like a forgotten dream now. You know what I mean? How bad they are now. And the Urban Meyer experience was absolutely horrible. Yeah. Well, the Colts, they just need to find their guy, just like Denver. You need to find a quarterback that's not just average or a Band-Aid, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz. I mean, you need to go like when Denver had John Elway to Peyton Manning. You can't go from that to Brock Osweiler and Trevor Siemian, Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. You need better. You need legendary quarterback to be able to get you that championship ring. You know what I mean? You need that. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Colts, going from, Peyton Manning, you had Andrew Luck, but you need to go back to that type of talent. If you can't get that type of talent, you're not going to be able to win the big one. AFC getting that Lombardi. Could be. Message from a Golden Eagle. If Doyle retires, we have $51 million in cap save. Reconstruct Buckner and Doyle retires, we have about 59. Yeah, you guys got money. You know what I mean? And you guys got Jonathan Taylor, which is great, but you need to beef up the tight ends and the wide receivers. I almost feel the Colts are in the same boat as the Saints. All right? Right? Very similar. Defense, good. Both teams. Saints, Colts, right? Quarterbacks, a question mark. Running backs, great. Jonathan Taylor and AK-41 Alvin Kamara. But the wide receivers and the tight ends are horrendous. You know what I mean? Michael Pittman's okay. You had, Michael Thomas over there. You know what I mean? But you need a lot more depth at wide receiver and tight end. Once you get that, and keep beefing up, obviously, the O-line, Quentin Nelson, the O-line is good. Saints O-line is good. It's kind of crazy how similar the Colts and the Saints are. If you look at what strengths they have, offensive line, running back, defense for the Colts, and then the Saints, running back, offensive line, defense for the Saints. They're almost the same team, and it's just in different conferences. They just need to be able to figure out what they're going to end up doing for coaching, leadership at quarterback, and being able to move forward. But it's kind of eerily scary on how they are built almost identically the same. Very crazy. Matthew Stafford, a.k.a. the Soul Snatcher. All right, man. Hey, you beat my Buccaneers. But I'll be definitely rooting against you again with the Niners. And if you get past them, I'm hoping the Chiefs just beat the brakes off of you. I hope the Chiefs just beat the brakes off the Rams. I can't root for you guys. I never will root for you guys. I cannot root for you guys. But I do want Stafford to win a ring. And if you guys get it this year, hats off to you. But I'd rather have the Chiefs win for Mahomes' legacy. You know what I mean? Just being very brutally honest. Andy Reid, rooting for him. Nothing against Sean McVay. I know he'll get his if it's this year or in the following years. But I want Mahomes. That's what I want for this particular year. Andy Walrus Reid. He goatish like. Just want to know what Mrs. Kelsey has in her DNA, just pumping out Super Bowl champions. No kidding. Travis and Jason, unbelievable lineage there. And they both play different positions, and they're both fantastic at them. Absolutely. What a great family, the Kelseys. Travis Kelce. Yeah, who doesn't like Travis Kelce? Message from a Golden Eagle. Lions winning the Super Bowl in 2026. Yeah. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, obviously, for ratings-wise, it would be Rams versus the Chiefs. That's going to give you the most ratings. You know what I mean? Powerhouse team in the Rams, powerhouse team in the Chiefs, and then you got the two underdogs, the Niners and the Bengals. You know, and if you get Niners, Bengals, obviously people are going to watch the Super Bowl to see what underdog will come out on top. I don't really know who would be favored in that game. What do you guys think? I mean, if the Bengals beat the Chiefs, right, then you got Joe Burrow and that swag, right? And you would think Joe Burrow is better than Jimmy G, but then you got the finesse, right? Obviously with the Rams, the power with the Niners. And if the Niners get past the Rams and they're the power team going against the Bengals, I don't know if the Bengals would beat the Niners at that point. I would think the Niners would be the favorite, even with Jimmy G not being as good as Joe Burrow, because the Bengals offensive line is absolute trash. And I know that they would be able to get sack lunches with Eric Armstead and as well as Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and the rest of the crew. So you would think the Bengals probably have the least likely chance to win. It probably goes Chiefs, Rams, Niners, and then Bengals, because that offensive line is so bad. But with that being said, with 9 sack lunches, they still beat the Titans. So, I mean, you don't really know. You know what I mean? So it makes it very interesting in football. Matchups, even with them playing so bad on the offensive line, they still beat the Titans. But again, Tannehill had 3 picks. I mean, that was one of the worst games that I've seen. And they had that questionable call. Obviously, that didn't work out for them, and maybe that was just the sports god saying, you know, we gave you that call that maybe shouldn't have been a pick, and you didn't deserve to win in the Bengals. Obviously, you know, the swag that the Joe Burrow has and putting them on the map, you know what I mean? And obviously, Jamar Chase is great, but I think if they would have had, you know, Penei Sewell from Oregon, or, you know, a Rashawn Slater, that would have benefited them more. They still would have made the playoffs, I believe, if they drafted one of the offensive linemen, you know, in the top 5 picks. Jamar Chase is a top 5 wide receiver like Justin Jefferson, so it worked out for them. And they played in college together, and it was the greatest college football team possibly ever assembled. I mean, Jamar Chase, I think, had 4 tutties in that championship game. Burrow is amazing, and he's playing with this guy from college, and they have the chemistry. So it worked out. But it shows you also that offensive line needs a lot of fucking work. But they're still finding ways to win with Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, avoid the Boyd, all right, as well as T. Higgins. They don't have John Ross anymore. They don't have A.J. Green. They don't need him. Uzomah, they need someone better than him at tight end, but that offensive line is a fucking disaster, but they still won. So, you know, we'll see on how it works out.
So here's the fun part. I'm not doing it. And just like that, 20 minutes later, it's done cooking my meal.
How good does this look?
Oh, that pineapple beer is good. I got some Fritos, chili cheese. So I've been slacking. You know, I just like talking to you guys. So, hey, time to eat some Fritos. Time to drink some pineapple beer. Now I'm watching the overtime. I've watched this game like 5 times already. Bills, Chiefs. What a classic. I wish they would replay the other games, though, as well. I mean, show me the Bengals and the Titans again. Show me the Niners again. You know, I want to see the other games. I mean, this game was great. Let me see the Tampa Bay lose to the Rams. I mean, that comeback almost happened. But the Rams flexed on Tampa Bay. We were hurt. It was a bad matchup for us. I knew that going in, that we would probably lose. And they found a way to get it done. Matthew Stafford didn't throw a pick. He didn't have a bad game. And he's been absolutely on fire and on a tear. Even though he threw quite a few picks in the last month and a half of the season, he turned that around. And now it's like they're really, really focused at this point, and they beat the brakes off the Cardinals. We're beating the brakes off of me. They could have won by 40 or 50, but with Tom Brady and that, me praying to the sports gods, obviously when we're during the stream helped a little bit, and we found a way to go from 27-3 to 27-27. But hey, to bring the blitz instead of doing like a prevent, we tried to stop it. Stafford executed, and it's only fitting that Stafford and Cooper Kupp linked, for that big reception, because those guys have led the team all year. So it was no surprise, that happened. Definitely hurt, you know what I mean? But it just wasn't meant to be for us this year. We were too hurt. No Godwin, no AB, no Tristan Wirfs. I mean, how the hell were we going to go to the NFC Championship game and win with those guys out, or even the Super Bowl? Just wasn't going to happen. You have to be hot and you have to be healthy. And we started to be somewhat hot, but we were not healthy this year. We were one of the top 5 teams that were banged up, and we were the healthiest team in the NFL last year, and that's why we won the Super Bowl. So Yeah, Josh Allen's great, but like I said, they still need a running game. You know what I mean? And defense needs to be worked on a little bit as well. But running game, and offensive line. You get a better offensive line and build the running game. I mean, and the Bills' defense is good, but let's be honest. I mean, Josh Allen and Mahomes throw it everywhere. You can't really stop those guys. I mean, you really got to have an amazing defense like Tampa's defense in the Super Bowl to stop a team like Kansas City or Josh Allen. You know what I mean? You have to have like so many studs getting after them. And if you can't get after them with sack lunches or pressure, they will rip you up. I mean, we're talking about 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game right now with Mahomes and Josh Allen. But when you saw Mahomes in the Super Bowl last year, I mean, he looked average or below average. He ran around the field 500 yards, right? Couldn't even throw a touchdown pass. So it shows you defense, when they are elite, they win championships for you, even if you have Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey. But now you're starting to see that, you know, with these defenses, they're not as good this year. The defenses aren't as good as they were, I think, last year. You're starting to see it's more offense. It's the offensive firepower and the, you know, the play calling, the Sean McVays and the Kyle Shanahans, and you're starting to see the Eric Bieniemys. I mean, they're really starting to get in full gear, and that's what a lot of fans like. They like seeing that offensive firepower. I don't blame them. Joe from Tiger King. Joe from Montana, from Joe Cool. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Joe from Tiger King, Joe Montana, Joe Biden. Loyal Rammy. I think the Rams defense would seriously make the Mahomes hate life. I think so too. You know what I mean? I don't like your team. All right. You know what I mean? Obviously, it sucked losing you guys, right? I do like a lot of your players, though. I'll admit to that, but I do agree with you. We won't agree on a lot of things. Okay, Loyal Rammy, you being a Rams fan, me being a Bucks fan, but I could definitely see if the Rams win and the Chiefs win and they move on to the Super Bowl, I could see the Rams having a similar performance than the Buccaneers had and making life hell for Mahomes. I mean, you wouldn't think so, but then if you look on paper, all the studs that they have, and if they play how I think they could play, yeah, I could definitely see them ripping up Mahomes, you know what I mean? Even though they got Kelsey and Tyreek, but if you get to the quarterback, it's going to be a long fucking day for Stafford or Mahomes if they play each other. I do agree with that, Loyal Rammy, because you guys got a lot of fucking studs out there. Aaron Donald, the best defensive player maybe ever. Jalen Ramsey, the best corner. Von Miller, still got some game left, let alone with all the other role players that you got that are fucking studs. Facts. Rams got a great defense. And we knew they were going to be good, right? Going into the year, Rams, Buccaneers, Packers, NFC. Going into the year, right? Browns, Bills, Chiefs. And what? We got Rams and we got Chiefs right there in the mix. And we got 2 teams that we didn't think would be there, Niners and the Bengals. It happens every year. You always have teams that get there, and then you have teams that fail, and then new ones that come out. You know what I mean? We thought maybe the Bucks and Packers, but we failed, right? Rams are there, right? We thought the Browns and the Bills would get there. Browns weren't even in it. Bills were good. Chiefs were good. But even the Chiefs hit a wall at some point in the season. So we'll see. Touchdown, Kelsey. What a ball game. Yeah, that's a good question, Lone Star. I don't know, man, because the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson thing is really what everyone's talking about right now. You know what I mean? Are you going to get rid of Russell Wilson? Are you going to get rid of, Pete Carroll? John Schneider and Pete Carroll have done an absolute horrible job rebuilding the squad after their Super Bowl run. Not building the Legion of Boom back up, but more importantly, not giving Russell Wilson the offensive line help to help them be competitive. Their time is over. And now the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Niners are taking over, and then Seattle's like, what do we do now? John Schneider, what's going on? Pete Carroll's getting old as hell, right? Russell Wilson doesn't want to be there anymore. So I don't know, man. That's a good question. You have guys like Ken Norton and these other guys, filling in, trying to do something, but Seattle needs a whole rebuild. You need to blow that fucker up. And I don't really know. I'm not sure who would want to go to Seattle. Who do you have to build around? Bobby Wagner? I mean, he's kind of getting on his last leg now. So I don't really know, man. That's a great question. And normally I have an answer or an opinion, on something. I have no fucking idea with that one. That's really, really, because I think you have to figure out if Russell and Pete Carroll are staying or going. Then you can decide how you want to be able to build that from there. I mean, the best fit for Seattle probably would have been Eberflus, but I mean, he's the head coach of the Bears now, so you're not going to get him. But I thought that would have been the best spot for him. But he's not a D coordinator anymore. He's a D coordinator head coach, but that would have been the one to get. Matt Eberflus, but now he's the Chicago Bears head coach. Great question. Right, but when you look at the offensive line, with the guys that you have, with Orlando Brown and Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey's a baller, the best center in the NFL. Jason Kelsey and a few others are very good, but Creed is amazing. You know what I mean? And then to go from the guys that you had before, like Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, you miss those guys. Tampa Bay took advantage. You know what I mean? But now with Orlando Brown and Thuney kind of getting used to each other on that left side and Creed Humphrey, the question marks are on that right side with the rotating pieces that you put on that right side. But the left side in the middle with Creed Humphrey, Orlando Brown, and Thuney, that's nice. But on the right side, that's where I'm kind of worrying about the right guard and the right tackle. I think you need to improve those positions. They've been doing a pretty good job, with the rotations that they have there, but they could definitely be better on that right-handed side. So it won't be any worse than the Chiefs and Niners played the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Our O-line is overall better now. The defense looks good. Jerick McKinnon looks like he's putting his foot in the ground. You know what I mean? If you have him, Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Gore, Darrell Williams, you kind of got a four horsemen there. All of them are kind of small, though. Jerick McKinnon is like an RB2, RB3, kind of small, but he plays kind of physical, right? He plays a little bit tougher than he looks, right? He's a little bit bigger. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is more of an RB2 than an RB1. He's got fumbling problems. He's more of a finesse back, not really a power back. Darrell Williams, kind of a change of pace back. And obviously we're not Frank Gore, but the other Gore, we know he's kind of just like that waiting in the wings guy, but I think they need something a little bit better. But yeah, it can't be any worse than what it was. So I heard the guy from the Broncos, Vic Fangio? Yeah, Vic Fangio, obviously could be, a spot, but I mean, I'm not sure if you want to go from, the Denver Broncos and, getting fired and you got Nathaniel Hackett there. I'm not sure if it would be a big enough challenge for him to be able to try to turn it around, turn around that particular piece, but maybe. Regardless of the outcome, where do you see each of the remaining teams going in the draft? Whoa, that's a good question. Okay, Bengals, offensive line, no question. I mean, you use your whole draft on the offensive line. Obviously you got, Trey Hendrickson, Jesse Bates III, love them. All right, but you could get more defensive depth. Offensive line is an absolute fucking nightmare. So that's where I would go there. With the Chiefs, add more offensive line, a stud running back if you can get one, but I'm not sure if you're going to get one, with the draft pick situation that you have, especially if you guys win the Super Bowl, and adding more defensive depth. Chris Jones is nice. Frank Clark and Honey Badger aren't getting any younger, all right? But you also got studs that you've drafted, like Nick Bolton. I love him. That's a very, underrated piece that you guys got that no one really knows how great he is. And I think he'll start to shine even more year in and year out. But I definitely would be looking at some more offensive line help, and maybe another stud wide receiver, if you can get one, getting a running back that's better than what you got currently with Jerick McKinnon, Gore, Darrell Williams, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, would be nice. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends there with what the Chiefs do if they win the Super Bowl or not. On the flip side with the Rams, more offensive line depth and getting more defensive depth as well would definitely benefit them. I mean, they got wide receivers, they got running backs, you got Matthew Stafford. So it only says to me, offensive line, more depth there, as well as, getting some more depth on the defense, even though the defense is very good, but the offensive line depth, Whitworth and some of the guys are getting a little bit older. They could always benefit with getting more offensive line. Cam Akers came from Florida State with the worst offensive line in college football. And now he's going to a team, and showing out, even with his injury. It's amazing to see that he made it back. I was really looking forward to him and J.K. Dobbins on the Ravens this year. And we got Cam Akers here, not J.K. Dobbins, but it's like I was really looking forward to those bright young pieces showing out. And then the last piece. So we went Bengals. We went, who else? We went Bengals and then the Niners. And with the San Francisco 49ers, with them, obviously we got to decide if it's Trey Lance or Jimmy G, what you're going to go in what direction. But obviously with them, it seems like they can plug and play any running back that they want. So you don't really need to draft one there, but offensive line and getting more defensive depth on that. And also, secondary help for the Niners would be good. And obviously getting some more pass rushers and linebacker help would be good. But I think the secondary for the Niners would be a big upgrade. Now, that's where I would go. So offensive line for the Bengals. All right, Chiefs with them. I mean, a running back and some more defensive depth as well. Secondary help, I would go there, right? And then obviously with the Rams, I would go offensive line and defense. And then obviously with the San Francisco 49ers, I would go secondary and add some more beefy offensive linemen. And you could always get some more wide receivers and running backs. I mean, the Niners can pretty much plug and play anyone that they want at that point. But that's where I would kind of go. So Trey Smith at right guard is definitely a sleeper rookie. Yes, I saw that. And they, like I said, the patella tendon. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Is the Tampa team going to keeping everyone together again? Tom coming back? It doesn't look like it. I got a lot of guys that are going to be in free agency. I'm not keeping everyone. Tom might not come back. And I got a lot of great players on Tampa. It's sickening. There's like 12 or 14 guys that are all up for grabs. So, and I don't know. We're not going to get all of them to come back. I mean, depending on if Tom comes back, then some of them will be like, okay, I'm coming back. But there's a lot of pieces on offense and defense that are up for grabs. You know, Chris Godwin and a few others, and it's just a lot of big names. Not looking good for Tampa moving forward, to be very honest. I want to say that everything is okay, but everything is not okay. Everything is not fucking okay for Tampa. Rams went for broke to make a run. Be interesting to see how they keep that together. They could win the Super Bowl this year. They're good enough to do it. I mean, like I said, the only downside to this year was Robert Woods. And what did they get? OBJ. And they ended up getting Von Miller. They're fine. You know, their talent level and their coaching level, even though they're 0-6 against the Niners, they might win this weekend. They could play the Chiefs and they can win the Super Bowl. They're good enough. You know what I mean? They might not be my personal favorite, but I'm not going to be like they're not good enough to win. They are. They beat the Cardinals. They beat Tampa Bay. They are good enough talent-wise, coaching-wise, depth-wise. They got it. I mean, like I said, they got it. I mean, you got to think between the Chiefs and the Rams, those are the two favored teams to win the Super Bowl. The Niners and Bengals are like huge underdogs. You know what I mean? But they've beaten them this year. But in all reality, the Rams and the Chiefs are the two best teams, it looks like, going into this weekend. So talk about the USFL, Ryan. Will it work? Jeff Fisher is a head coach again in that league. I don't know. I mean, you got USFL, and then you got The Rock and his wife, you know, with the other, you know, football leagues that they're trying to do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they definitely failed, you know, in that league before. I mean, I remember like the Canadian Football League with the CFL, the USFL. I mean, I remember with back in the day with, you know, the USFL with like Steve Young and some of the people that they had back in the day. I don't know. That's a good question, man. Loyal Rami. I don't know, man. I mean, is it going to be like a developmental league, like some of these other leagues, like these arena football leagues and all these other leagues that tried to make it and then they failed? You know, Vince McMahon tried to do something, and then The Rock is going to try to do something, but I don't know, man. I don't really know. Chris Godwin would look good in Indy. Chris Godwin would look good in Tampa Bay. I don't want to lose Godwin, but we got to see if he can come back from that serious injury. Rene Cruz, let's go. Diehard faithful Niners Empire. What to do? Rene Cruz in the building. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Facts. Oh, I got Seahawks and Steelers. Oh my God. Are we watching this? The Big Ben retirement thing. Oh, this is the 2005 Super Bowl. God, Seattle was good. And then what are they showing after this? This is like a special. And then they're showing the Chiefs and the Bengals. Ooh, they're showing Chiefs and Bengals at 9. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, I love doing studying on tape. I love watching matchups from the regular season. And a lot of times I'll watch games twice. I'll watch games like the average fan that watches it like quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. And then the second time I watch it, I usually watch the offensive linemen specifically, who's, you know, run blocking, pass blocking, pancaking. And I usually watch the defensive line and like the calls with the linebackers. So it's like, I like watching it from a defensive perspective, offensive lineman perspective. And then I like watching it like the traditional perspective, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, which most people watch it that way. But like when you see a snap of the football, what do you guys put your eyes on? Most people are watching the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running backs, and the tight ends. But if you start watching football from the play is snapped on the offensive line first, you see the game totally differently. You see who's really dominating up front, and the game is won in the battle in the trenches. And I promise you, you know, that's why I love defense, linebacker, safety, and offensive line play the most, because those are the people that get underappreciated. The defense in general, but offensive linemen are the most underappreciated piece in the NFL, period. It makes me sick to my stomach on how great these guys are, and they should get more love. Like, I would love to see an offensive lineman like Quentin Nelson get NFL MVP. Are we ever going to get that in our history of the NFL? Fuck no. But it would be great to be able to see, like, okay, boom, NFL MVP, Quentin Nelson. I mean, just seeing someone pancake and just be that guy. The Steve Hutchinsons, the Walter Browns, all these legends from, the Dawsons, Dermontti Dawson, and just all these guys, these legends over the years at offensive line, the Orlando Paces. It's just, I love O-line. And a lot of people don't give a shit about the O-line. They're like, okay, O-line's cool, but it's not as cool as wide receiver, running back, or quarterback. Well, of course, you know what I mean? But if you start appreciating the big boys, you'll start to see football a lot differently. And that's why I'm a defensive guy. And most people that are on YouTube or that are on TV or podcasts, they're not. You know what I mean? I got defensive jerseys. Most people buy offensive jerseys. I like offensive linemen. Most people don't. You know what I mean? I like offensive linemen. Most people like defensive linemen. It's natural. I get it, but it is what it is. Okay, honest question. Looks like most teams winning Super Bowls have a young stud, cheap quarterback, or the first few years under contract allows you to build a team around them. I mean, it happens, like Russell Wilson early on. I mean, if you can get to a Super Bowl, with a rookie contract with that quarterback, obviously that's going to be better for you, but it's not always going to be like that. If you have a Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, they're proven that you might pay big money for those guys, but they're good enough to win. But you're not going to necessarily get a scenario where you're going to get a rookie quarterback within the first 4 years of his contract, unless you have all the pieces: Marshawn Lynch, Legion of Boom, Brandon Browner, Earl Thomas III, fucking Richard Sherman. If you have all the pieces already lined up and then you just need a quarterback, it was a perfect storm for Russell Wilson in his rookie year, coming out of Wisconsin, NC State. I told my boy Marcos Pineda, that was a Seahawk guy, I told him, you're going to get Russell Wilson in the draft. You're going to go to probably 2 to 3 Super Bowls, win one, lose one. And it happened. Like, I could tell that they were built for success. They just needed that guy. I remember when they had Matt Flynn and they gave him all that money. And then obviously we were like, oh, Matt Flynn. And then Russell came in there in preseason, and the rest is history. So Elliot's like, I watch the defense. Or a team with years of high draft picks and they bring in a great quarterback. That's why I wonder if Wilson will go to one of those teams like the Broncos or the Saints. Are $70 million over the cap. You can't get Russell Wilson. I mean, you'd have to trade away Lattimore, AK-41, Michael Thomas. You probably have to give up everything, and you're still probably not going to get him. So he's not going to go there. Broncos, I don't see him going there because I think they want, Aaron Rodgers. I think that's more of, they got Nathaniel Hackett, the OC for the Packers. So I think ultimately they did that to lure Aaron Rodgers to come there. Okay. You know what I mean? And then if Russell Wilson's going to go somewhere, I think the Giants would be the most natural fit, even though it seems like, why the hell would he go to New York? You know what I mean? The coaching staff and the players. I just think that him and Sierra, they want to go to the big market, for endorsements and more money. You know what I mean? So I would see that kind of seems like the most natural fit. Now, if he went to the Saints, Russell Wilson, he could go and get a Super Bowl for them, but they just don't have the money. No Sean Payton. Who knows about Dennis Allen? Jameis Winston might not be there. You got guys like Lattimore, they might not be able to afford. Michael Thomas, you might have to get rid of him. I mean, it's almost like a complete rebuild that you're going to have to do. Offensive line, Ryan Ramchek's nice. Alvin Kamara's nice. Defense, DeMario Davis, Lattimore, Cameron Jordan's nice. But they're at $70 million over the cap. You gave 4 years, $40 million to Taysom, and then Sean Payton dipped. So the Saints are really not in a good situation right now. Good offensive line, man. It does. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, dude. And like I said, if you watch a lot of college football, and I encourage people to watch a lot of college. I watch high school and I watch a lot of college because I like to be able to scout and watch film. I think it's my favorite thing to do. You know what I mean? Besides talk football and call games and do live play-by-play and reactions or do reaction videos with the film. You know what I mean? Like, people like me for that and love me for that. But I love watching film and just watching games and breaking down players and being able to give you guys the analysis before they become big studs on the NFL side. Like, I already seen them ball out. I seen the potential in college. And that's what really gains a lot of respect. You know what I mean? Especially in this game of YouTube and just social media, when you can call things before they happen. And sometimes it's easy to see, and sometimes there's sleeper guys in the right system, and then they can ball out. But I knew Creed Humphrey was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be this good. But yes, exactly, man. You know what I mean? There are certain players, and sometimes players need to be picked on the right team. You can get picked, But just because you're a good player, you might go to a team that doesn't fit your style of play. And then you go somewhere in the next team, and then you finally make it work. And they're like, oh, he's a bust. He's a bust. Well, maybe he wasn't a bust. Maybe the head coach wasn't right. Maybe the other people around him weren't coaching him up. So sometimes it has to do with that as well. $750. Renee Cruz. Get those tickets. Get those tickets. In Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. I don't know. I'll probably watch a little bit. Not a lot, but I'll probably watch a little bit. No greater strength in all of sports than a quarterback rookie contract. That way you can get more money all around. Absolutely. 2,500. Woo! Expensive tickets. Gosh, I wish I could go. Big facts. I got to eat some chips. Hungry. Fritos, chili cheese. And those barbecue twists, I like those too. That's wild. 2,500? That's crazy.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Something's up.
How are you?
I don't know.
Is there
I don't know.
anything-
I'm already going to lose a lot of pieces on offense and defense.
And listen,
It might be a rebuild.
I'm here to talk.
Kyle Trask and, Blaine Gabbert and all these other guys, they're not good enough. I mean, Kirk Cousins, kind of talent. I need someone like a Carr or a Cousins. You know what I mean? You need to get someone that's like 11 through 20. Tannehill, Cousins, Carr, that type of talent. I would need something like that to at least stay afloat in the NFC South. Am I going to win a Super Bowl with Cousins or Carr or Tannehill? Probably not. You know what I mean? But at least I could be competitive. And, to be so bad from, 2008 to 2019, I haven't been a bandwagon fan. I don't even own a Brady jersey. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. I'm a defensive guy. You know what I mean? But to have great football from 95 to 2002 and then go to the playoffs in 05 with Chris Sims and then 07 with Jeff Garcia, and that was it. You know what I mean? And then 2008 to 2019, I was a laughingstock of the NFL, like the Detroit Lions. And then finally we got Tristan Wirfs, Antoine Winfield Jr., Devin White. Then you brought in, AB and Brady and Gronk, and we found a way to, make magic happen. But I was actually thinking that we would never win a Super Bowl, past Super Bowl 37. I thought that was it. Wilson to the Steelers be a good fit? Yeah, I think so. I think Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson to the Steelers would be a good fit, but the offensive line is horrible. Wide receivers care about, more about TikTok, and social media, which is a problem. You got to get that thrown out the fucking door. Offensive line needs to be rebuilt. Defense, halfway decent. Minka Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt. You got some guys there. No more Bud Dupree, but you got some guys there that are pretty phenomenal on Pittsburgh's defense. But I don't know. I mean, you're going to need special person in there. Ben's not there. Russell could be great for them. Aaron Rodgers could be great, but we're going to have to wait and see, how it all plays out. But Denver and Pittsburgh are going to be the destinations that would be exciting for whoever decides to go there. He mentioned that if he was today or yesterday that he was retiring. It all depends with Tom. If Tom comes back, I think Gronk comes back. But if Tom leaves to another team or retires, Gronk's done. He already won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. He's already won plenty with New England. I mean, what does he have left to prove? He'd rather just be drinking and partying and, hanging out with his bros. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Gronk is going to come back unless Tom comes back. So we'll have to wait and see. They're watching right now the Seahawks and the Steelers. They have this hour special about the 2005 Super Bowl, which is exciting. Seahawks should have won that year. Kind of got cheated with Big Ben with the quarterback dive and whatnot. And if you remember, with that team, they had Steve Hutchinson, formerly of the Vikings, and they had Walter Brown, two of the best on the left-handed side ever. And if you notice Sean Alexander, I mean, that guy could run for 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 plus yards. I mean, Sean Alexander was an absolute fucking beast from Alabama Crimson Tide before even Nick Saban got there, and then what he did in Seattle. But Big Ben coming into his second year, going to the Super Bowl. Charlie Batch on the sideline. Wow. Memories, dude. One second. Yeah, like I said, offensive linemen are some of like my favorite, pieces ever. I mean, if you just go back and look at all the greats of the offensive linemen, I just wish they got more appreciation and love. So that's why I try to give them and shout them out, because I don't know, no other channel is going to shout them out, or TV. You know what I mean? You're never going to get the offensive lineman love. And like I said, it's my favorite thing besides like linebackers, safeties, corners, pass rushers. Defense in general is always going to be number one. Linebackers and safeties are my two favorite, but right after them, it's offensive linemen. I mean, I love them. Wow, they have Tommy Maddox and Big Ben talking on the sideline. How cool is this? Jerome Bettis. Very cool. I love seeing the old games. Bill Cowher. What a stud. What a stud. Seattle in the Super Bowl with the old school. I love those old school unis that Seattle's wearing. Love the helmets, the old school. But the old ones, the Steve Largent look, was even better. Was even fucking better. Well, shit, I've been streaming now for about 3 hours. I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys very, very much. I was planning on doing it. So, Orion, get Fitz Harvard. Fear the beer. Oh, shit. Loyal Rami, good luck this weekend. In all seriousness, we all have our teams that we love and players that we love. Good luck, in all genuine honesty. Like, it's going to be a tough game, but you guys look like you guys might be turning the corner, even with the tough games against the Niners in the past. And like I said, if you guys beat the Niners, you guys might go all the way, even against the Chiefs. I mean, it's very possible that you will be holding up the Lombardi, and I know it'll mean a lot to you, just like it meant a lot to me to win the Super Bowl last year. So I'm gonna give you guys a salute. I love you and appreciate you, all you guys, for hanging out with your boy for almost 3 hours while I just grind it out. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow for my picks for the AFC NFC championship game. And I'll be doing that video sometime between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then we have Saturday, and then boom, Sunday, we have the games. So I'm excited for that. I appreciate every single person that hung out, donated, that showed love to the channel. And again, I will be back very, very soon. Jeff Garcia. Yeah, love me some Jeff. Loved him on the Niners. Loved him on Tampa Bay. Love me some Jeff Garcia. One of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time, Rene Cruz. So I will call it a day. For now, for 3 hours, I'll eat some food, drink some more beer, and I will be back very, very shortly tomorrow with the NFC AFC championship game. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us, your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. I will be back very soon. Enjoy your guys' rest of your Thursday, and I will be back to do the big prediction video tomorrow. Love you. Appreciate you. Peace. Gang.